Bet.
Hi there.
Hi, besties. Bet you never thought you'd see our faces again.
You are currently unable to see anyone but myself and Callie, and that is because we're doing an epilogue. First off, what do you remember happening last session?
We summoned the curator after some of us had a heartfelt conversation with each other. Snappy Tomato with Mary, Snedos with Ambrose, and fight ended up going south very quickly. Snedos had to run, but before she ran, Ambrose, little lamb, little brother, was able to tell her and her tell him that they loved each other. And Mary died holding Serena in his arms.
Yeah, that all happened. So you managing to take the book and escape fight. You've found yourself running off into the woods. The gaseous form long dissipated. Sounds of fighting and spells off in the distance have ceased. What would you like to do?
Probably after time of running, she's just gonna slow down and drop kind of briefcase next to her, and she's sobbing. Once again, someone she loved told her to run and hide. But there's no one this time to come save her. No one to show up and get her away from the danger. So she kind of just stares at the briefcase for a little while. She'll drag it over and open it up.
You open up this briefcase, peeling back the metal, the lead lining that you made for this book, and you see it there inside the lead. A decent-sized patchwork leather tome.
She'll kind of just stare at it for a moment, and she'll reach out and pick it up. I'm just book in her hands right now.
As you pick up the book, immediately you feel something was reach out from the book and grasp at your heart. You feel a weight, pressure. feel energy begin to be drained from you.
You don't. I don't know if you're sentient enough to understand, but you don't have to like me. I just want to know one thing. And then do as you will. And she'll open the book.
You open the book. The pages are heavy. And first glance, looking at the book, these pages are blank.
She'll turn the pages and just. Please. You were supposed to know. Can you not tell me what Ambrose's mother looked like?
The pages continue turning and turning until eventually they begin flicking by themselves. Back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. And a blinding white light emanates from the book, clouding your vision. Do you feel information? A lot of information. Information from places that you've never heard of before. Times you've yet to see. Times you've only heard stories of. Your mind begins to get overloaded with this information. You learn so much about the past, so much about the present, and so much about the future. Included in that is the description of Ambrose's mum.
What did she look like?
She was a relatively tall Firbolg with sort of short brown hair and a burned left hand with heavy scarring across her face.
I guess, does the book share what happened to her? If Snaros was on.
The book shows you visions of a woman sitting on a throne. She speaks to a flame and dissolves to dust. Then a mushroom grows out of the dust. and your vision goes black. The book, you feel close shut in your hands. You do not regain your vision. The world remains dark. You have no idea how long you were absorbed into the book, how little time you're absorbed into the book. But you hear the footsteps of a man slowly approaching you.
We'll kind of turn her head a little, and then for something she'd been practicing on her own, she'll kind of move her hand and motion, and Calder will summon up beside her. She'll just kind of put her arm around him.
As you're sitting there, these footprints get closer. Closer and louder, and eventually they stop in front of you. There's a heavy sigh, followed by the sad but calm voice of the curator. You read the book.
I did.
You hear the footsteps of the curator sort of circle around. You hear shuffling as the curator sits down beside you. I am sorry.
You can convince yourself that all you want.
I can promise you that I didn't want to do this.
No. You just wanted to make us puppets in your little fairy tale world. Write us happy lives, quote unquote.
Perhaps that's true.
You've helped the wrong people.
Correct.
And I wish, Ambrose, my little brother didn't have such faith that you could be better.
As do I. How do you feel about what you've learned?
Be specific. Learned of what?
Everything. I know you've lost your sight, so the book can't have shown you nothing.
What I learned, most importance to me, is Van Burrows' mother. Because I believe I'll see him again. And when I do, I'll tell him all about her.
I hope so. And I promise, in whatever comes next, I will do everything I can to reunite you with your friends.
I have a question.
Yes?
Or rather, a favor to ask. You can reunite us all you want. I don't expect you to. But revive Ambrose. Let him go home. Out of all of us, I think even you can agree he was the most harmless and less provoked. And even then, it wasn't entirely him.
I do agree. Promise. If, when, what I'm planning works, I believe I can do better. For all of you. May I have the book?
She'll hold it out to him.
Thank you. I promise I will make this as painless as I can. Do you feel a sort of a warm feeling sort of getting closer to you? Followed by the sounds of some arcane sparking. The curator casts Power Word Death on you.
Okay. Yeah, she doesn't fight it. If there was a save at all, she doesn't fight it.
Power Word Death is just if you're under 100 hit points. And he sort of just lays you down. Things are dark for a while. You wake up. You're in a familiar bed in Bleakford. It's your bed. get woken up to the sound of Oriel sort of knocking on your door. Wake up. Breakfast is ready. We've got a big day.
Does she remember everything?
No.
So, I guess she'll kind of get up and rub her head a little and head out the door with her hair not braided or anything.
Yeah, you sort of head out of your bedroom door, and you make your way. You're sort of following your mum downstairs, and your mum says, "Sorry for the rush. We've got a guest joining us for breakfast. I hope you don't mind."
But it's fine. We have a guest?
We do. I know it's been a while.
Is there still a war going on and everything?
Yes, yes there is.
Okay.
In your most recent memories, yes there is.
Yeah, it's been a while with the war going on. Who is it?
It's someone. He says that he knows you. And you sort of make your way downstairs, and sitting down at the kitchen table is a man in a blue suit with a well looked after beard and sort of long, slick back hair, with these black eyes with white pupils, a quill and book sitting on the table in front of him.
She kind of look him over, kind of skeptical. It's like, good morning.
Good morning, Sneros. It's good to see you again.
She doesn't recall him, so sure. It's good to see you too. Where have I met you?
Somewhere far away. I have an offer for you. You see, I'm a curator. I collect things. And I'm setting up a gallery in Seoul. I would be honored if you would join me. And he slides an invitation to some sort of gallery going on in Seoul across the table to you.
She kind of look at and pick it up and I've never left Bigfoot before, and she'll like look over to her mother. She's still in there.
She sort of looks at you. There's a sort of look on her face of like, you're a grown woman now. This would be a good trip. She's sort of like, I mean, the Cabal have been, well, a lot less active, and well, I'm almost certain that we can handle things while you're gone.
If you can figure out a way to message me quickly if you need me, then I suppose I don't mind going, and she'll look back to the curator. What is... I'll be ready whenever you are. if we leave together?
It'll take a fair bit of time to set up, but just be in Seoul in about, we'll say 3 months' time. Should be set up then.
All right.
Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you later.
Thank you. You as well.
He sort of stands up, collecting a quill and a book, turns and walks out the door, says, thank you for your time, Oriel. I hope to see you again. And walks out. Ambrose.
Huh?
You are going about your sort of daily routine in Hearth. You know, just vibing, gardening, playing with Moral, that sort of thing. And you hear a call from inside the house. It's the voice of your mum. She calls out and says, Ambrose, you've got a guest.
5 more minutes.
Now, Ambrose.
Please.
Very
Almost
well,
done.
I'll bring them to you. And you sort of hear like sort of laughter coming from inside. The back door opens. And out comes your mother and your father. And a man in a blue suit with a book and quill at his side.
Ambrose doesn't even turn around. He's trying to get Moral to do something. And when they get close enough to him, he goes, all right, now do it. And Moral stands up on his hind legs and holds a little Goodberry in his hands and passes it to Ambrose and feeds it to him. Check that out. How cool was that? Nom nom nom.
Yeah, cheers and clapping coming from your dad and mum. And the curator sort of smiles.
Oh, hi. Hey, I'm Ambrose. Hi. Ambrose
It's good to see you,
Hollyback.
Empress.
Hi. You too. Who are you?
I am a friend.
Great. I love more friends. That's great. Were you here to just see Moral's tricks, or
No,
how can we help?
I came to offer you a little trip.
Well, for what? What are we doing?
Well, I'm a collector. I gather things.
Me too. We have so
I
much in common.
am setting up a exhibition, a gallery. Lots of cool things to look at there.
I like cool things.
Yes, I'm setting it up in Seoul. I was wondering if you would like to come along. I think it would be quite entertaining for you.
He grabs up Moral and says, "Are our pets invited?"
They are indeed.
All right. Oh. Mom, Papa, can I go play with my friends?
Yes, yes, you can.
He puts on a little straw hat, tucks a flower behind his ear, and says, "When do we leave?"
It'll take some time. Just if you wish to leave now and head to Seoul, could do that. It would take some time, obviously, but the gallery will be in about 3 months. I'm sure Moral can remind you.
Say 3 months.
3 months.
Good job. Yeah, he'll remind me.
Excellent. I hope to see you there.
I'll be there.
And the curator sort of turns back to your parents, sort of talks quietly to them, shaking hands with your dad, and turning and going to shake hands with your mum, and saying, "It's very nice to see you again, y'all. I hope things are well. I will try and return at some point." And your mum sort of just thanks him for coming out, and for offering entry to the gallery to Ambrose. And then he turns and leaves. Mary. Serenia. A while ago, Serenia, you received a delivery back at your parents' house. It was what must have been quite the expensive gift. It was a robot. And it was simply addressed to Serenia from a friend. Your mum and your dad sort of helped you drag it in to the house and figure out turning it on and stuff like that. And eventually, Mary is rebooted. And as he is rebooted and his joints begin whirring up, you see a little envelope almost slip out of sort of suit that he's wearing. And on the ground, you can see it's addressed to 1 second. Still 1 more second.
Help him out, Chris. It's the full name.
Oh! Hang on. I don't remember what his name is.
I found it. Yeah, it's addressed to Marigold Oswin Rudiger Cullivan.
You have mail, Mary.
I guess I'm Mary. Reads the mail. If he can read.
I won't say full name sometimes, just Mary is shorter and sweeter and, Mood.
Yeah, Mary, you've worn this jacket many times. You're pretty certain that you would have remembered there being an envelope in there. And at first you sort of think over it and you think that it might be some sort of like bounty letter from the Brymore Bounty Hunters Guild, but it's not.
I'll read.
It is a letter addressed to Marigold, Serenia, and Mork. It says, "I hope this letter finds you well, my friends. You do not remember me. I am a curator, and I'm establishing an exhibition, or a gallery, if you will, in Seoul. I invite you both to join me. There'll be lots to learn, and lots to experience there."
You want to go, Mary? We could like take a little trip, we could pack a little lunch.
I think
We could have a vacation.
we should go. I could probably you could ride on my shoulders the whole way, so we'll save money on a carriage. We'll go see the fancy people in the big city.
Right. We could dress up like the fancy people in the big city, get big hats and little gowns. It could be really fun. A bigger hat. I know you have a big hat, but you could get a bigger hat.
If I get a bigger hat, I may stop the sun from shining on plants when I walk past, so...
It's a dream, really. I prefer to be a little less on the lighter side, so shade be a good thing.
Let's go.
Is it a long walk? Oh, we're just leaving. All right. I was
Um,
gonna say take a nap first, but
Through the wall.
it's fine. Okay.
As you're sort of getting ready to leave, your mum and dad sort of approach and just say, "Oh, are you heading out?"
Apparently, I was gonna wait today, but you know, Mary has a mind of his own. We're off to Seoul. I guess there's a gallery, and you know, we're very prestigious folk, and our attendance is required at. Mary, who did it say it was from?
A friend.
It's at a friend's request. Didn't know I had friends in Seoul, but I guess my legacy travels.
Well, I'm sure it will be an exciting adventure for you. You know, your first big steps out into the world. Maybe you'll be able to stop by one of the arcane schools there as well. Maybe try and learn some more.
After I got rejected from the last one.
Look, that was
Try.
different. Okay, these ones, they might be more accepting.
Here's hoping. It's a new age. Magic's not one size fits all, you know.
Indeed. Well, good luck on your journey, and I hope to hear back from you soon.
All right. Or I'll send Ollie. Or all right. I don't really trust him. But it's... Okay, Mary, walk slowly. I'm going to balance. No hands.
Slow for me or slow for you?
Slow for everybody, really. Okay, maybe a little faster than that. Just waves.
And off
back behind her.
the dynamic duo go into the sunset. With the mighty Serenia upon her steed.
little nut and bolt hanging off a string in front of Mary to motivate him.
And the day comes. You are in Seoul. There is a certain buzz about the town. Relatively early in the morning. Many people going about their business, but there is definitely something going on. There's people lined up in the streets for something called the Gallery. You all sort of, one by one, make your way to the line, and you're sort of standing there and you're waiting for your turn, going through, lots of people being turned away at the door, some being let through. And eventually you manage to get into the gallery. It's this large-ish wooden building. There's rows of seats and a stage at the far side. Behind the stage is a large, red, heavy curtain. There's windows lining the walls and a large doorway at the back of the room. Inside, there's a large, there's various people. All different shapes, sizes, races. There's a human man dressed in sort of his blue robes, sort of petting an otter of some sort. Just sort of sitting down, having a conversation with some quite noble-looking woman. And then sort of sitting off more towards the corner of the room, there's also a man dressed in his green and burgundy clothing with a dark green hat and a feather sticking out the side, a rapier down by his side, and a glove over his left hand. And eventually you fill into the room. The room itself gets filled with people. And then the doors shut behind you. You've had some time to sort of go around and talk to people and make friends. And things get dark. A few lights, these orb of arcane light, they begin to rise out of the ground. The curtains on the stage part, revealing a deep red glow coming from behind the curtains. As Curator steps on stage. And he says, "Welcome everyone to the gallery. It's an honor to have you all here. I do very much look forward to what is going to come of tonight." First and foremost, I'm almost certain you are wondering, this is meant to be a gallery, there's meant to be things to look at, we are in an empty room, what is going on? If you would all proceed through the doors behind you, yes, the ones that you've just come through, you will have plenty to see there. And everyone sort of makes their way to the back of the room, exiting through the doors that everyone's just come through. There's curtains, and they open. People walk in one by one through these curtains. And each of you receive visions. Visions of the events of the Book of Time campaign, including your deaths. And you exit the final curtain. You find yourselves back in the gallery. But there is no other people. Just the four of you. The chairs have all been pushed off to the sides of the room. And the curator, instead of standing sort of proudly, the way that he typically would, on the stage, he instead sits on the edge of it and just looks at you all. And now, you know the truth. You still, each of you still have your memories of this timeline. Mary, you were never tortured by Jasper. Callie, the war is getting close to ending. Things are okay. Serenia, you've still got your fucking family. That's kind of important. Yeah, and you've got you've lived 2 lifetimes with Mary now. And Ambrose, you've got your mum.
I don't get it. That was a very sad gallery. What?
That is what happened. I was successful. I did what I was going to. I did what I wanted to. I fixed things. But I made a promise to all of you that I would reunite you. I know what I did to get here. I am sorry, whether you want to believe it or not. My hands are covered in blood that no one else can see. I have had to live multiple lifetimes with the guilt of what I've done. But I knew what I was getting myself into. But now, I sit here before all of you. Mariana passed away recently. In her sleep. She lived a full life. A happy life. That's all I wanted for her. My job is done. But I feel as though I should answer for the things that I did to get here. And he takes quill. And he sort of throws it to the ground in front of you all. He takes the book from his side, sort of looks over the cover, running his hand along it. I know what I did to you all. I know what I put you all through. And all I can really do now is put myself forward. If you wish to deal out justice, I accept it willingly. But the book will need someone to care for it regardless. I cannot think of anyone better suited to the task than each of you. I saw how you fought for it, how you fought to look after it, to prevent it from being used by someone like me. I think you are the keepers.
In the book and Oracle.
Yes.
Urania will bend over and pick up the quill.
Ambrose looks out over the rest of the people assembled, this group of strangers.
You've got the memories of living a life with them.
Yeah, but not having the experience. So he looks out over everybody and goes, "We didn't like the oracles, right? That's what my brain says. My head hurts real bad."
Didn't like them and still don't. She'll look at the curator. Why us? Why make us bookkeepers? I still have things to do other
I
than
can't read.
after a book.
I know.
If memories are true, you don't have to know how to read. Ambrose.
That is correct.
That's why I never learned. Oh, you mean this book? All right.
Yes.
I chose you all because, like I said, I saw how each of you did what you had to. You fought to the end just to keep the book away from someone like me. And it is a burden. Holding the book, holding an artifact of such power. I think that splitting that burden among all of you may be a better way to carry it. You do not have to, obviously. But I think you should.
Respectfully, sir, I decline. But I forgive you.
If memory is correct in what you've shown, there's something up north that has my interest. And I'd like to find it.
That's where I'm from.
And
I can go
don't-
with you.
It's between. It's not too far from Bleakford. It's a few hours away, probably a few days, honestly.
I'm from Hearth. You want to see a big fire? It's real great.
I've heard of it, but maybe afterwards.
Okay. I'm patient. I can wait.
Will the book survive a trip north? And she'll kind of look at the curator.
As long as you care for it, I don't see why not.
And she'll look at the other two people she's supposed to know. According to memory, I know you too. Do you want to come?
I don't really do the cold. It's not really my scene. I'm more of a stay in the grass kind of girl.
You look like the kind for a nice fluffy coat.
Mary, what do you think, darling? You want to go up north?
Muted. Muted, Chris.
Mute.
Apologies. Wow, how long have I been mute for?
The whole time.
Shit. Uh, when he gets the memories from his past life, does he get just his or does he get Mork's as well?
He gets Morks.
Oh my god. Because
Yeah.
I have to have a sit down.
You're
Yup.
now suddenly aware of something within you.
Like, you know, in cheesy horror films where you see, like, someone's transformed into something and it's POV, like, rushing through the forest with, like, red mist on, just hacking people to bits. Yeah, I sat there like, oh my god. Well, I appreciate that you kept your promise and kept us all together, but you had to show me what I did in another life, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to forget that. I had a nice thing here. We had a nice life, and no, I think I'm dangerous. I don't know. Maybe let's try go somewhere different. See what the north holds for us. I'll tell you about it later, but at some point I may combust and turn into a blender sort of killer machine, so best to do that
Blender.
isolated.
I sort of remember that from the... And she'll point to the doorway from that.
I'm sorry, I think we have a much bigger problem at hand instead of deciding a vacation. Him.
Who? This guy?
Mm.
Well, what are you gonna do now? I think you should keep the book. You did all these Dindard things with it. You should probably keep it. We don't want to be responsible for whatever comes next. I don't want to be responsible for whatever comes next, that's for sure.
How, if you want to be honest with us, how many people died in that other life so that you could fix everything?
That's an answer I don't want to know.
More than one. I had to go across plains. And it took me many attempts to get the number right.
How many
But I got there.
attempts?
16.
Now, what attempt number were we?
You were the first time I got the book.
You see, this is what I was warning you about, with how many people you may have had to do to get this done. However,
Believe me, I am well aware.
I don't think I'm the right machine to decide your fate, because if we're going to punish you for actions in a different lifetime, I'd probably be sat in the gallows next to you, so maybe someone else should decide.
What are you going to do now?
I don't know.
Sounds like you got nothing going on. Sounds like you'd be a good keeper. Maybe the burden of the book is your punishment.
Okay. Sometimes death isn't the best punishment, but rather life.
This was your choice. You can't hoist it upon someone else.
If this is the punishment that you all see fit for me, then I shall bear it.
I don't want to punish you at all. I just think you need to live with your choices.
I have done that.
I think going forward, I'm going to make sure that I exclude myself from situations which may trigger rage bursts. So, yeah. I
Oh, the
say,
North is so serene. There's bonfires and s'mores. You ever had a s'more?
I can't eat things, but we've been working on it.
Maybe there's somebody up north who'd be able to fit you with like some sort of attachment that does the chewing for you.
Like a tongue.
Like a tongue, yeah.
Having horrible, vivid flashbacks to the thing that bursts out of him with its own mouth. Like, Yeah, I
There
think
are
that
Hey,
some animals
hey,
up there, so I might have to fight an animal or two, but let's calm
we
down
can be
up
friends
north.
with it. We'll make friends. It's all right.
Sarah's
Hey,
kind of like,
Mr. Curator,
Hmm?
what's your name?
I'm Zeno.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Nikki didn't hear that.
I am Zeno.
Is that with an X?
No.
Zeno?
Yes.
I wouldn't know how to spell, but that's for my own note taking.
Yep.
Well, Zeno, if you don't know what you're gonna do, we can be. I don't want to be the keeper of the book, but I don't mind being the keeper of you. If you need somebody to lift you up and support you, and somebody to relieve some of this burden, maybe what you need is friends.
Potentially. But
You want to come
Gi-
with us?
given what's happened, I don't think I would be the greatest friend for you.
I disagree.
how about Zeno here keeps hold of the book, like in that place where we found it in the other life, and keeps it safe, and we can go about and remember things and see things and do things, and then we can make a consensus later.
I think that's real wise.
that starts to get stronger. Don't see why not.
Have you ever met my papa? Sounds
Me?
just like something that he would say. No, not you, Mary.
I'm remembering something about him talking about it's not about the size, it's about the motion or something.
How you use it. That's what he says. Wow. it's like hearing them talk. I can't wait to introduce you to my family. When can we leave? When can we go? When can we get started? I'm ready. I'm ready.
If we want to go after what I'm looking for, we can leave anytime you are ready.
Zeno, do you feel okay with hanging on to the book for now till we can spend some time together?
I can.
Hey, Sunshine.
Hmm.
What do you want to do?
I feel like you should walk him to where he's going to stay.
Like an
Go ahead.
escort.
Yes.
We can do that first, can't we?
I don't mind.
Don't see
By
why
yourself?
not.
I've never really had time alone. Said Mary with me. It'd be fun for a first time adventure.
Okay, if that's what you want to do.
I think
We'll
we
meet you
can go
there.
together.
I could meet you up north. You could explore the town for a little bit. I have some friends in Seoul if you want to go spend some time with them. They make great stew, and she does the most excellent socks.
I found the best bakery. They have just the most amazing little honey buns that I can't even describe.
Don't forget the meat pie stand. Just in the market.
There's a meat pie stand.
Yes.
I don't eat meat, but sounds great. Can't wait for pies sans meat.
I'm trying to stay away from antagonizing situations, but while we're here, there's a little goblin man that I need to pay a visit to. Give him a talking to about throwing people out the street with no warning.
You have a very good idea. I have the same feeling.
Do you want company?
You might not want to see our conversation, darling. You seem too kind.
Why don't you walk with me, Embers?
Okay. Yeah, sure. I just want to make sure everybody's doing what they want to do. Sure.
I think Snip Snap and Nettie there will be fine without us when they go talk to the goblin.
We just have
Yeah,
some
that
hellos
feels
to
like
say.
that feels like that's theirs to keep.
Yeah, that's a private conversation for them.
Yeah.
I think he has some underwear that wants to meet his forehead, and I think I can pull it all the way around.
Mary's
And
villain arc.
Snaros kind of like, and Snaros looks at Mary like, stop.
Ambrose
mom
is
looks
just
up.
picturing that he's taking underwear out of this goblin's drawer and just pulling it nicely over his head like a hat.
Brilliant.
This is where it starts.
Mort comes out while you're trying to do it.
Rip him in two.
It's a horrible way to get ripped into. Just buy the underwear.
The curator stands before you all. Well, it seems like you've all got your plans. I can wait here. I can wait in the hall. I can.
Where'd all
Be
the other
wherever.
people go?
They're fine. I just send them straight outside. I just wanted to talk to all of you.
Well, for what it's worth, I don't agree with your methods, but thank you for giving me my mama back. I can't imagine a life without her. I don't want to imagine a life without her. I would have been fine never knowing anything about this. But you brought my friends back to me, so thanks.
I've tried my best to make everything better for all of you, not just myself.
They're just memories. None of the emotions are connected yet, but She'll kind of glance at Ambrose briefly and then back to the curator. For what it's worth, thank you.
Don't thank me.
You didn't have to. And that's why I do. And that's the only reason why I do.
Serenia, you can keep that quill. I don't think I'll be needing it.
Didn't plan on giving it to you, to be frank.
Well, to leave, you can just go out the doors behind you. I'll just be waiting here.
Ambrose goes and holds his hand out for a shake.
Curator shakes your hand.
No, he doesn't, because I decide against it and go in for a big old bear hug and pick him up off the floor. You're gonna be okay. And if you need us, I hope you know where to find us, because I don't know where the heck we're gonna be. But
I'm sure I'll figure something out.
just call on me. I'm there for you. He puts him down.
Thank you.
Well, shall we? Make a quick stop and then get this guy to where he's going to spend his time.
I agree. Oh, Sneasel.
Right? Can we stop for a pie on our way out of town?
I'm starving.
Sounds good to me.
And you all make your way out of the gallery into Seoul. Go and pay a visit to some people who have done nothing wrong to you in this lifetime, but did something wrong to you in a previous lifetime. So he's going to be very confused where he's being beaten up by a robot and a blood mage.
Not doing any physical harm, like literally tripping him over, wedging him, and then like
Give him a swirly.
yeah, weird shit like purple nurples and
It's like when
Wet
you get
Willy.
assaulted in middle school.
yeah.
Yeah.
Give him a swirly
Okay.
in the outhouse.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, and you all head off. And that is the end of the epilogue. The final chapter has been closed.
That was cute.
We'll
Well.
go to a break
Yeah.
and then come back for Q&A podcast. And that's Pucks of Doomcast, not podcast. Or
Capital
fucking fight.
POD cast.
Capital POD.
Cooks of Doom
POD's
podcast.
nuts.
Do you... Okay, break
You
time.
can't say that.
Yes, you can. Well,
Yeah.
if I don't go back to Norway, that is.
You all move there.
Anyway,
plans we
we're
got.
Hi,
back.
friends.
Hi.
We're back.
Hi.
Welcome to the second part of our stream today. What we affectionately are calling the podcast, capital P-O-D, cast. Don't get it confused. This is just going to be a real cute roundtable discussion after we do some like scheduling announcements and real not exciting stuff. Just, a little bit about the world, a little bit about the plot, a little bit about us as characters, and who knows, maybe if you guys are real nice and real cute, we tell you a little bit about what's to come. But you have to tell us how cute you are. Or we are. We like to be told we're cute too. So, with that, real quick, scheduling junk and any other announcements we may have. This is just like the formality nonsense. So, today, April 30th, is the Book of Time epilogue, according to my notes, which we've done. Check that off our list. Now gonna follow into our podcast, formerly known as Ritual Exposition, rebranding incoming. May 7th, 7 a.m. regular time. Session 38 of A World's Rebirth. Be there, be square. May 14th, we're taking a week off from our regularly scheduled programming, as a few of us are going to be away on prearranged commitments. But our lovely darling Callie is going to lead a few of our castmates and some of our loving viewers through a absolutely wild D&D 5e one-shot. Callie, do you have anything you want to say about that? Anything about your one-shot?
I have recently posted. I will post it again later on, or I'll ask Tay to because I'm a nervous little wreck.
I got you.
But essentially, it's going to be biscuits and break-ins. The idea of it is simple. You all, as players, will be a bunch of werewolves who will be trying to save your friend Barry because he's been captured. More details of that will come, but everything that comes with creating the character or a little more concerning the reason why you're going to save Barry will be discussed once all players have been chosen.
That's May 14th at our regular stream time, 7 a.m. ish Eastern Standard. May 21st, session 39 of A Book of Time, rip, of A World's Rebirth. Surprise, guys, we're skipping
39.
We're jumping forward 20 sessions. Session 39 of A World's Rebirth, May 28th at 7 a.m. Session 0 for our incoming campaign. Wombat, pick 3 words to describe the upcoming campaign. Only 3 words.
That's fucking crazy, yo. A fallen star.
Who knows what that means? No one will know.
I thought you were just going to go with that's fucking crazy.
So join us as we talk about just the rules, the world setting, the tone, all the fun preluding stuff to running some TTRPG. June 4th, session 1. So same week following session 1 of insert campaign name here. You'll have to tune in to session 0 to find out what we're calling the campaign. And then June 11th, session 40 of A World's Rebirth. We kick off with the Pucks of Doom and friends doing who knows what. With who knows who and who knows where.
That's what we're doing.
Probably war crimes. With that, does anyone have any further announcements before we jump into everything we want to know?
Don't read the wiki unless you want some real spoilers.
Yeah, that's a real good one. The campaign that we just played?
I think we're
Who the fuck is watching the Q&A before watching the campaign?
I don't know. Who's in the list? Who's here? Just
psychopaths. You know what? We like you, psychopaths. It's fine.
Thanks for coming, psychopaths.
Yeah, join the club. So the first area of topic we're going to talk about is the world. And I'm just going to jump right into it. Wombat, this is a question that Buck has, and you may have seen Buck in some of our crazy other antics, / in A World's Rebirth, / on things that are coming. Who knows where you're going to see their face next. And I thought it was a really good question because I was kind of thinking the same thing as a fellow DM and world builder. What drove you to making your own pantheon? Why did you do the most work? And why were you not a lazy crumb like me?
I mostly created my own pantheon because, don't get me wrong, the D&D pantheon it's great. It literally covers everything. But I wanted something that was mine,
Yeah.
and I feel like I could add in a lot more flavor by using my own pantheons, and also add in some jokes and that with them as well.
Was there any challenges that you saw like in building your own pantheon? Like, was it like a hard process for you, or did like you like be like, ah, nah, I got this, and like literally just like vomit it all out in one go?
It was definitely hard. Yeah. The main issue with it is that the feeling that it's never done, and the feeling that you've not covered every basis. Because like that's sort of what drove me to doing the whole major gods, minor gods thing. So like the minor
Yeah.
gods were all for like really niche specific things, and then the major gods are just like, yeah, this covers everything else.
On the same purpose, did you have, or on the same topic, did you have a plan for the paragons that we never saw? Because like obviously we saw the deity list when like making our characters and just like war building, but Wombat had this like little section of paragons that I feel like us as players know like the nods to, but like if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, the paragons are still in play for any for the next oracles. But the paragons themselves were essentially just our characters from A World's Rebirth inserted into game and just slotted in. And basically, anytime you guys went to like anywhere, really, you had a chance of encountering one of the paragons. But it was very low.
That would have
Otherwise they'd be popping up fucking everywhere.
Yeah. That would have been wild.
Mm.
I love little Easter eggs like that though. I think that's like why I like playing video games, like or like watching like Marvel movies and stuff is like all the little like Easter
Cameos.
eggs or like little cameos or like The Last of Us. If everyone just watched The Last of Us, like all the little hidden like nods to the video game that like you only get if you've played the game or read the comics. That's my crack. I love that kind of stuff. Nikki, you've got a notebook out and ready. Any world questions?
Yep.
This has been
Well,
brewing.
no, these are character questions.
Oh God. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on the world? Or are we just gonna say fuck it and go right into it? I mean, I have questions about the world, but I don't want to be the driver. I mean, I'll drive. I like driving.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I had one concerning a specific god.
Mhm.
Because it fit with the character, what was going on with Seteth?
So during the OG war of oracles versus gods, Seteth was essentially like one of the primary combatants. She had the dragons at her command. The oracles kicked her fucking ass. And she essentially forced herself into survival mode and split herself off into 7 eggs, which were under the protection of a dragon.
Dragon.
That's fun.
Was-
So that's what Snanos is now leading the party to in the final chapter.
Were there any cities or landmarks you really, really wanted us to go to, but we were too stubborn to go to, besides Ichibi, which we eventually got to?
We did go there.
You did go there. That is the thing. You did definitely go there. Um, um, kind of. Not. It wasn't like oh, I fucking hope they go here, but it was just like it's a thing. But yeah. There was opportunities for this campaign. Would have eventually led to the Eye of the Oracles or to the Nexus, and both of those locations are pretty cool. But obviously, it's not major.
All right, I think we have too many questions for each other and too many things we want your input on about us as dummies. And I'm just going to kick it off with a question that was posted in our Discord. For Wombat, on a scale of Marmite to ice cream, how gratifying was it to kill us as players after we were so annoying? You can be honest, we won't judge you. And this scale could be interesting considering you like Marmite. So this could be
First
a
off,
conversation.
it's called fucking Vegemite. Get it right. Second,
The spice. Or the yeast, rather.
It was. I'm not gonna say gratifying because it wasn't. I don't enjoy killing PCs. I hate it. I like running hard games, but I don't enjoy killing PCs, so that's a very fine balance there. But yeah, so it wasn't gratifying, but the thing that was to me is being able to give everyone a good send off and being able to let everyone have their final moments, essentially. As hard as it was to do for some, but I'd like to think that I succeeded in that.
As a DM, whose death was hardest for you?
Hardest.
Yeah. Who did you have the hardest time Who did you have the hardest time slaughtering?
Oh god.
I think that's in the name right there. Slaughtering.
Yeah. I think it's. I don't know.
It took me a minute.
It was either Mork or Ogeen. Because I was able to hit Mork, but his resistances were just fucking fuck it all off. But I just could not land a fucking hit on Ogeen.
I love how you took that question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rephrase it. Who was the hardest on you emotionally to slaughter?
But don't do that to him.
Okay.
I just did.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that's what you meant because when you said hardest, you were like, oh, who was the hardest to kill? So I was like, oh.
I mean, all of the above, really.
Yeah.
I think emotionally, that's a hard one. I think probably Ambrose, but only just. I think closely followed behind is Snaros, and then Serenia and Mary.
Is why a good question to ask?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard one to answer as well. It's.
I think
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. It's just a feeling, you know,
From my perspective, I think when we were doing it, obviously, Serenia and Mary doing their own thing. Serenia's blasting away and she's trying to get people up, and Mary's just beating the shit out of people like he does. But Ambrose and Snaros just sort of went to their deaths. Especially Ambrose.
They were bystanders in the situation, really.
Yeah. So for me, that's where when you talk about the emotional part, that's where it's quite hard. Where Ambrose sort of accepted his death and like never. When you were on about who's to slaughter, I was like, what, like a lamb? Because that's sort of how he went. I was
Yeah.
like, shit.
Yeah, well, and that's literally it though, right? Is like when we were talking about it behind the scenes, like when we were plotting and planning, and like, hey, this is what this person's gonna do, this is what that person's gonna do. We really tried for Ambrose and Snaros to like get away scotch-free because they've really been the bystanders of our dumb decisions the entire time. They got the shit end of the stick. So we're like, oh, okay, they'll get away, it'll be fine. So I like really came to terms with Serenia dying like super fast. I was like kind of okay with it with Mary.
Hmm.
Ogun, I was like, yeah, that guy's gonna just like, walk in, take the hits, and he's gonna take the brunt of our damage for us. Like that's what Ogun's gonna do because like mechanically Ogun was built so different than the rest of us. Like he could take so much in a different way that Mary could take so much.
Yeah.
So like that's why Ambrose and Snaros even were the hardest for me. Is because they were literally like if you go watch them back and watch the fight, like they were bystanders in it all. Like they didn't.
They're in the tree. They're in the tree
Yeah,
crying
literally though.
about shooting a man who's being drowned, and I'm like
Yeah.
just fucking.
Literally, and that just shows like the difference. And like we just kind of talked about it on the break. Like they're like, why does Serenia want to get the curator? I'm like, she's not a good person. Like she's not. She has no feelings about what she did there. Whereas like Snaros and Ambrose like literally were showing the emotion the entire time.
Mm.
Like Ambrose has destroyed me.
Plus, I don't
Yeah.
think either of them. Like I know, Serenia sort of wanted to use the book for her own regards, and Mary just didn't want the curator to have it. So both of those decisions lead to conflict. Whereas I don't think either of Ambrose's or Snaros' decisions. I mean, eventually he's going to find you and say, "Give it to me," and then you need to decide what to do. But I don't think either of them would have led to conflict as quickly as obviously our decisions put forth.
Mm-hmm.
Snaros did originally say just to give him the book.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Like that would have had us in a whole different spot if we were just like, yeah, here you go. Take it, bestie. Like this would be a very different session right now.
Well, it would have. I think
Then,
it still
like,
would have gone the same way. We're just without the fight. It's like, right, campaign's over. There, you wake up in a different room.
No, because the campaign would have turned to you guys trying to like stop him.
But then I think it would have been hard to
Because he
convince
still
everyone
has to
to.
kill a whole bunch of people,
Yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
which we
Yeah.
already knew. So then if we just gave it to him anyway, and they're like, oh wait, actually we shouldn't have done that. But we already knew we shouldn't have done it. So then it would. Yeah.
And Snaros would have shared by then she knew of a way to possibly bring back Seteth, and having a deity on their side might help.
I got a question for Wombat. How does it feel making a BBEG so divisive and yet relatable that we were willing to go on a suicide mission to make him stop?
pick one.
Yeah, that's a thing. This is the first campaign I've really DM'd, so I'm glad that it has had that effect and that the curator has been so impactful.
Controversial.
It was perfectly controversial.
I think every single person from the party took a different lead towards the curator. That's why there was so much discussion about it, because you couldn't just. It's not like a Civil War thing with Marvel where like, oh, it's yes or no. Everyone had a different opinion, and it was
Mhm.
difficult to figure out what to do.
Yeah, it really is, and that's like it's so different between like seeing us having to talk it out and then watching you guys talk it out as your DM, where you guys are almost always on the same page. It's very easy for you guys to come to a consensus most of the time. But we literally had to come up with a piece of paper that we passed around because we couldn't make choices. Like we had so many thoughts and opinions on how to handle this. He was The fuel to our nightmares.
How much was the campaign molded to the party that you got when we made our characters? And how much did we just have to kind of fit in and figure it out? Like when you got the campaign list, the big old list of who's playing what was your thing?
When I got like who's playing what and all the different character backgrounds and stuff like that, I was generally like sort of reading them over because the Book of Time campaign was meant to be the introduction to the world. It was meant to send you all around to all the different spots in the world, you know, see a bit of everything, and like introduce you to the old gods, the new gods, the oracles, all of that. So it was okay to have everyone being so different and everyone coming from so many different places. But the general sort of layout of what I sort of had intended for the campaign was pretty much the same. Of that, it was just like you guys meet curator wants book. You guys stop the curator from getting the book, or you know, you stop him from fucking murdering 1 billion people.
What was your end goal for the characters? Like, as for each of our characters, if we didn't deviate from the idea of an end goal that you may have had, what was it?
Do you mean the end of the like individual sort of story arcs for each character?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snaros was supposed to uncover the eggs, and sort of help bring Seteth back. Yeah. The lodestones really had nothing to do with you. That's more of an Aizu thing. You just sort of fell into that. Mary was, and I spoke with Chris a little bit about this because it sort of had a little bit of an impact on Mork. But essentially, Mork was what's called a spark. And this is essentially a fragment of Unit 1, who's the first Warforged, who died in the battle against the Oracles. And all of this was actually explained in the original visions that Mary got in the thing in the gallery. Yeah, and so he was basically just shattered apart by Unit 1 was shattered apart by Aizu. And Mary was, while being built, chosen to be a carrier of one of the sparks, specifically the spark of Unit 1's rage, which caused Mork. So Mary's sort of thing was to just reunite the other pieces of Unit 1.
I swear they guessed that like 12 different times. Every time they were like, we know, and I was like, I've never heard such a weird. It's just a piece of shit. He's made of scrap. What you want about?
I was just gonna say, can't confirm this was like a conspiracy theory. Like Nikki started, like very early on.
You'll find another one that I started.
I've got one. Just get ready.
Yep, I know you do.
Got a few.
What's a conspiracy theory?
We'll get there. We've got a big list of conspiracies. We'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
We'll
finish
get there.
your arc
Yeah,
explanation. of
the
what you
character
hope for.
arcs.
Okay. Nikki. Yours was interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, yours was specifically around the entity, sort of uncovering and like sort of learning how to help the entity fulfill its goals and how to have it help you fulfill your goals. And by extension, uncovering what the entity actually was.
Was there any arc for Moral?
No.
Was
Yeah,
Moral
there
even on
was.
your radar? He became like such a huge thing.
Yeah, so he wasn't originally, but
Yeah.
eventually I was like, let's do a little thing for the buddy. So yeah, I did have a little bit of an arc for Moral. Essentially, like he would just get more and more consumed by the fungus. And eventually he would like get, like abilities to turn into like a little mushroom person for an amount of time and like do like all of these sorts of things. But yeah, he didn't really have like a main arc, but just more like as
Flavor text arc.
as Ambrose progressed in like almost like as the entity got stronger, so did Moral.
On a scale of Toad from Mario Brothers to the big mushroom fucks from Dark Souls that punch the shit out of you, where are we putting this Moral hybrid?
Mike and Ed.
I don't know what that means.
Mike and Ed is D&D mushroom people.
They're like a foot tall.
Yeah.
They're very small.
Right, like Toad.
adorable.
Okay, because if like
I was
do they
definitely
say
like
when they follow
waiting for
you?
him to be like a bloater from The Last of
If
Us
Moral
and just
came
murk
out-
us all in our sleep.
with the big Doge arms, like do, that would have killed me. What was I saying?
All right.
I'd have
I
cried.
need to know before we move on to another topic. We still have Serenia, and then we also have Jackson and Ogun, and I want to make sure that
Yeah,
those don't
I need to
get
touch
lost.
on Jackson. I have questions about Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so, eventually, with Ambrose continuing, Ambrose would eventually find out. I was essentially just waiting for you to try and speak to the entity, because that was sort of a massive leap for the next part of your story. But yeah, essentially, eventually, Ambrose finds out that the entity is in fact Ambrose's mum.
So that was one of our conspiracies, because on October 6th of 2022 at 8:36 a.m. Eastern Standard, Nikki said to Wombat, the entity could be his mom.
That is true.
I didn't even want the timestamp. I've got it. We did the
I sent
research.
it
We
to her
got the receipts.
I sent it to her as soon as you said, and a mushroom grows out of the ash. I'm like, I'm getting these motherfucking receipts. I knew this.
I'm getting
Yeah.
the receipts.
October
As
6th.
soon as that was said, it was like, yep, that's his mom.
That
Yeah,
tracks.
she's
That
his
tracks.
Yeah.
mom.
So the whole storyline with that, also in this new world, there's no entity because Ambrose's mum is still around.
I was gonna ask that, but I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what actually happened was Ambrose's mum was Jarl of Hearth. And she was a good leader, but she cared more about her family than Hearth itself. And sort of as attacks on Hearth from the oracles became more and more frequent, and they were losing more and more defenders every day. The Jarl just went to the Hearth and asked for contact with Emnius. And with the Hearth and Emnius, she made a deal to be an eternal guardian for Ambrose. Emnius accepted, turned her into the entity, and let her live within Ambrose.
So what was the vision? then?
The vision was yours was a bit weird because your story actually changed a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, it was hard to sort of place yours. That's why I said that yours is a bit weird.
Okay.
Yeah. So for your vision, it was essentially like meant to be like eventually you sort of go sort of under the surface of the world. And it's there like because originally the entity wasn't going to be your mum. It was just going to be something.
Yeah.
And so like you'd go to like make contact with them, but I think that having it be your mum works a bit better. And so yeah, that's what that like large mushroom was with the mycelium stretching. It was meant to be like sort of a vast empire underground, and you sort of get chosen by their leader as champion, and that sort of shenanigans. Yeah, so I'm sure that you've probably also got some questions about why everyone was so weird around Ambrose regarding Ambrose's mom. And that was once I realized that, hang on a second, let's just make the entity Ambrose's mom. I realized that like when you start asking people about it, there can be a bit of a like the entity almost like for Ambrose's protection doesn't want Ambrose to know what really happened.
The entity is blocking their.
So she's like sort of subtly producing spores, which are just like sort of confusing them
bitch.
and making them not really
Damn it.
understand.
All right. All right. Damn it.
Yeah, Serenia. Yours. Your story was it's quite funny because your story actually had quite a lot to do with metanoia in the first place. So you getting fucking blessed by metanoia and all that's just like pure luck. But that was very funny. But yes, so you went off, and then one day you went back to your home, and everything was all wrecked and turned over, and your parents are missing. Yeah, so essentially, because metanoia had sort of taken over Brimor, your sort of thing would be was going to be based around finding your parents and seeing what metanoia had done to them. And when you did, they were essentially just a giant wall of meat, like a giant massive blob of just smushed together peoples.
They're a brood mother.
So when we went back to the house and there was like the trail of gore that we were trying to track,
Yes.
that was a bit tricky. Was that like
Yeah, so
bit of the
that-
wall coming back home?
Basically, that was them. Like, yeah, that's what the intention was. There, it was that there's still like, despite them being all blobbed together into this one giant object, there is still some semblance of them remaining, and so they were sort of went into their house and gathered something from the safe for leaving.
Got you.
So the
What did
safe
they
wasn't full
take?
of flesh. They left the flesh there.
Yeah.
Got it.
What was the something?
What was in the safe?
It was just like some scrolls and shit. I didn't think too much into it. No, that was more for like later.
Yeah, it's like
It was
a
more.
Alright.
It was more.
Later
It was more to
problem.
set the scene of like, okay, this has happened.
as a small down detective. That befuddled the fuck out of me. I was like, did someone lock them in the safe? Was they always? I don't.
All right, tell us about Ogun. I want to know was his wife and kid dead?
No,
Didn't think so.
he only thought they were. They were in fact being held by his father.
Which is the council. We assume it's the council.
Not the council, just one of them.
How many members? That's a conversation for later. Oh, Jackson, listen, buddy, Cryo, if you watching, so many questions about Jackson.
Cryo just
Specific-
texted in our Discord, but I'm trying to get him in the chat.
So many questions, specifically about why the fuck Jackson decided to walk down the stairs during combat instead of like participating in combat. So Cryo, if you could tell us in chat, that would be cool.
I don't know the answer to that one. From what I can understand, he just didn't want to trip.
And now tell us about Jackson's racist dad, please.
Yes.
All the tea.
Jackson's dad is a cuck. Um,
Heard it here first.
yeah, so he Jackson's actual father is was a storm entity. It was the god of storms. But yeah, essentially, it wasn't really a case of like the storm god went and fucked Jackson's mum, but it was just like a sort of
Immaculate conception.
yeah, it was Jesus' birth.
Hot.
Yeah.
Jackson is the Messiah confirmed.
Or Hercules.
Yeah, literally.
Storm God turns into a heron and
both?
burns his mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did what was? Yeah, I mean, I think that's really just my question is, tell us about Jackson's racist dad, because Jackson was human, right?
Yep.
So
his dad was just a racist.
love it.
That's as far as it goes. Yeah.
What was the intended arc for Zap?
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he got pancaked.
Didn't you just put in the chat something about Zap forever or something? Long live Zap.
Yeah.
Because he was in the gallery with Zap.
Yeah.
Literally, I forgot about Zap until today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't really have much of a planned arc for Zap. Same with Moral. It was more of just like progressively getting better and stronger with Jackson.
Why did you so desperately want to kill our pets?
I did it. I swear.
Mm-hmm.
I did it.
That's why I had a fake pet.
You gave Moral all these combat abilities, and I was like, well, never gonna do that. Watching
did.
Zap get pancaked, so
Yeah, literally.
Zap only got pancaked because Jackson asked me to. All right. I got a message from fucking
Wow.
Cryo saying kill
yeah,
Zap. And I was like, all right.
Cryo's bailing you out in the Twitch chat. He also says that he did not run down the stairs because he did not yet have the ability to quote float angelically.
Ah, boy.
I mean, have you ever
yeah.
run down a lot of stairs? That's like, it's edging.
You get to the bottom and just. That's why Ambrose
Yeah,
just
but,
jumped off the side.
You do one
I
trip
would
and you're
not-
fucked.
Yeah, literally.
Skip the
Just
stairs.
boom.
But yeah, killing Zap was not my idea. That was Cryo's. He did that because it felt like there was too many pets in the party. Yeah.
How dare you, Cryo?
We petitioned to call us the petting zoo. No shit, we had a lot of pets in the party. My dude.
Although, I think we got slightly off track. What was, because we were on about Ogin. What was his arc?
What was his whole deal? Yeah.
His whole deal was that he would essentially just like hunt down a sort of, well, he'd hunt the hunter. So people were hunting him, he'd hunt them, and on that person he would find evidence that they were not in fact sent by his family's enemies, but in fact by his father. And so he would go back to fight his parent, and in the process find out that his wife and kid are still alive, and his dad would threaten them, and then they'd fight, and all the typical shit. Eventually, resulting in Ogin having the choice to either take up mantle, take a seat on the council, or abandon it.
Was Jackson's dad on the council?
Nope.
Got strong Oracle vibes from Jackson shady ass dad.
He was 100% in servitude to Aizu. But,
That checks.
Yeah, he was not an oracle himself.
Mm. So what was Jackson's character arc then?
Eventually, sort of finding out that he is the son of a storm god, not his actual father, and eventually it would result in Jackson's father trying to kill him, similar to Ogin. Because basically it was
A lot of daddy issues in the party.
Yeah,
it was
that's what I was
written
just
really-
thinking.
it was written into Jackson's story that his father always resented him. Like, his father knows that is not his son, but yeah, so that's why he was sort of extra stern to Jackson.
Because he's the
Yeah.
bastard, baby.
Yeah, and so eventually it would probably turn out into a son kills father.
So Jackson was the Jon Snow of this situation. Bet.
It
You
was
wouldn't
Poor
kill
Jackson.
Ned. Don't.
No, but
Um,
he was resented and hated by his entire family.
Can I take Wombat out of the hot seat for a second?
Mm.
I was gonna
And
ask
What are you
while
putting in it?
I'm putting all of us in it because I have our 2 lies and a truth from session 0 written down.
Oh my God, I was looking for those so desperately the other day. I was like, I know this is coming. I know
I don't
this
remember
is
that at
coming.
all.
May I ask one more? That's just a quick.
Mm.
Did you expect the character relations to go the way they did? Like Ambrose and Snares connecting, Sir and Mary were already connected, but just the overall.
Hadn't really thought on it too much, to be honest. I expected that you would all get along to a degree, but yeah, definitely wasn't expecting some bonds to be as strong as they were.
All right, Nikki.
Go, Nikki.
Take it away, Queen.
All right. I had 3, which is interesting because I think that Wombat, this might have been the catalyst for Wombat changing the origin of the entity, or because one of my lies was Ambrose is possessed by a malevolent fungal entity that is using him to spread spores to unsuspecting hosts. That was one of my lies, but it might have been the truth at one point.
Something like that.
Yeah. And my other lie was Ambrose doesn't know how to whistle, and my truth was Ambrose can't remember his mom, which was evident from I think the first 30 seconds
Oh,
of session 1.
that's crazy.
Yeah, he really put that brand out into the market. Like the McDonald's M,
Yeah.
you will never unassociate.
Do you know my mom?
Hi,
You know my
Ambrose.
mother?
Ambrose
you-
Hallibow. Do you know my mom?
Ambrose was modeled after the cricket from Are You My Mother? Or the duck or whatever it was. I forget what it was. It's a
duck.
Dr. Seuss book. Anyway,
Oh my God, yes.
I
it's
have
like a little-
Marigold up next.
Okay, let's
2
hear
lies
them.
and a truth. 1, distrusts taller people.
I think it's actually true.
There's always one
Got-
fucking stupid bit.
2, got his suit by accidentally suffocating a businessman while sitting on him.
I think that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
I know that.
3,
Hmm.
he's been letting scientists into their apartment to experiment on him.
Okay, no, definitely not.
It's like I'm pretty sure it's
I
the
think-
first one.
I
'cause he
think it's
made a
the
comment
tall
about
one.
Thanos being taller.
Because he was always a little bit shady with Snaros and Ambrose. I can't remember why that was a thing, because if you remember when I was building Marigold, he was going to be very much like a moron. Like, he had no idea what was going on, so he had to learn everything.
Yeah.
And it got real tiring real quick. And we also had Ambrose as well, so I was like, let's just speed this shit along. Because
Yeah.
this
We
is
have
like,
to get smart. We already have one dummy.
I'm holding...
Would you think it's
Yeah.
Would you think
Oh
it's
my God.
because taller people kind of loom over him? That might trigger some repressed memories of people being
Intimidating. Yeah. Good job.
Potentially. I can't remember what I was thinking of at the time, but I know that the one about him sitting on someone and suffocating them by mistake, that happened, but it wasn't how he got his suit, because there's no way it would have fit him. But that's when he was learning how people worked.
All right, Jackson's up next. I know Cryo's in the chat, so Cryo, are you
Yes,
listening?
okay.
First one, haunted by the memory of seeing someone die. Second, knows where one of the old gods is. 3, this is not his real family. He was adopted at birth.
I think we just figured that one out.
I actually know the
Yeah.
truth of this one, and it's not the one you think.
Not. I think it's 2.
I think it's 2 as well.
What was
I think it's
2?
the first one. Well, it's the first or the third. We obviously,
No,
it's not
the
a
first,
lie.
it's
We
the
know
first
he
or
was
the
kind
second.
of. Yeah.
It's not the third one.
Well, his dad's adopted him, in theory.
Oh,
No, but it is his real family. It's his.
2 and
True.
3 were
2 and
lies.
3 were lies. So he was haunted by someone's death.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who'd you see die, Cryo?
He
Yeah,
killed him.
tell us. Wait, stop, pause, hold up.
Can we? Yeah, we need the backstory
Can you
on
unpack that real quick?
Yeah.
Like Cole's notes, like just the tea, real quick.
If Cryo's there, he can type it out, but I mean, I'm happy to say it.
I think you're gonna be more satisfying. It's faster.
And the recording
Oh,
will thank
lengthy.
you
Here
later.
it is.
So it's
Okay,
lengthy,
yeah.
but here it is.
Yeah, so basically, like he'll type out his thing, and then I'll just say like the brief notes. Basically, when Jackson was discovering his powers as a sorcerer, magic happened and he killed someone.
Oh boy.
Oof.
That makes sense.
Okay.
We've both been there.
Ogin's up next. So we'll do a live reading of Cryo's answer in just a moment. But I know what the correct answer is, but there are now 2 correct answers because one of his lies, much like Ambrose's, turned out to be true. So first one is he's from Greendale.
Yeah.
Second one are his wife and child are alive. And the third one is he's been on the run and in trouble for the last 20 years.
Yeah, only the first one's a lie there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because his wife and child turned out to be alive, but he didn't know that. So, sort of the same thing as my
Wild.
malevolent fungal spirit. Same deal. Oh, here goes Cryo. Who
Fungus.
wants to read Cryo?
So on a business trip where Jackson had an armed escort, someone approached him for money, but the guests thought they were attacking him for business-related cargo, and they killed him.
Oh, the guards.
It's always
Okay.
so the guards
Awesome.
murdered a guy,
Yeah,
and
I must
Jackson
have
just
been
had to
thinking of
watch it
something else
happen.
Yeah, that can be
Yeah.
pretty harrowing.
Interesting.
I think I was thinking of something else.
Rip Jackson's
Sorry, Jackson.
precious little eyes.
All right, Snaros is up. I know what the
Yes.
answer is. We all know what the answer is. But you had said 1 comes from Frost Hollow, 2 is devout to the oracles, and 3 wishes to revive an old god.
Yeah, she wanted to revive Satet. Like,
I remember laughing pretty heavily about it being a dragon-related god in character creation, because if we think back to A World's Rebirth,
Yep.
for those who only ever watched our recap video or played the first 10 sessions with us, Callie's original character, Vali, was obsessed with dragons. Like, unhealthily obsessed with dragons.
And then a second
Like,
he
character
was
wanted
a
to fuck a
dragon.
dragon.
I think this is a
and,
running theme.
Hey,
Me
hey,
and Nikki
hey.
have said this. White hair,
Hang on.
purple skin.
Has Anawana
Likes
not
to
spent
fuck
a lot of
dragons.
money so that she can summon dragons as well?
I know she only did that one time, but she has no interest.
One time for now.
I'm just
One
saying.
time. It's enough to make it a trend.
Once is a thing, twice is coincidence, 3 times is a pattern.
Heard it here first, guys.
Serenia.
Hi.
1. Wants to take over the 9 hells. 2. Killed the businessman who killed her mother. Or 3. Stole a book with very important sangromancy instructions.
The second
said
one
it
was
was-
a lie.
There's 2 lies. What's the second lie?
Oh yeah, the third one.
Really?
2 and
You wanted
3.
to take over the
2 and
9
3 lies.
hells?
Yeah.
Yep, I remember she messaged me that. She was like, yeah, this is more of a long-term goal. I want to take over the 9 hells. And I was like, yeah, why not?
Well, it's
Man,
not going to happen. But here you go.
putting our 2 personality types together was fucking hilarious. You got like a baby in a giant evil body, but is dumb and naive, and then you've got I want to bleed the 9 hells, but sweet and like, yeah.
Had to give some.
Did Mary in the new world have his chair?
Big.
Important question.
Asking
yeah.
hard questions.
Yeah, we'll say so. I imagine that like when he was first brought in, like he would have tried to sit down in a thing and just say, like,
Squish.
yep, we're probably gonna need a stronger chair.
Good old chair.
Chair was important. I feel like every like dad has a chair like that, and I felt like Mary was dad, surrogate dad, so like needs a chair.
Mary was like stepdad that's not really wanted, but is trying to make an impression.
Oh my god. But you're not
Mary
wrong.
around.
Okay, I'm running through a list of questions. We've answered Nikki's about the. How much did you know, Nikki, about the entity? Like, what did you actually know versus what you were
Nothing.
given?
Nothing. I knew that it wanted to protect Ambrose, and that was it. And I told Wombat that I would always leave a wild shape open. So if Ambrose was ever doing something stupid, the entity, he could say the entity takes over, and then I'd start playing as somebody more smart.
Another question for Nikki, but this one came from Chris. Which of Ambrose's Papa Always Said is your favorite? Aside the dead mom one, because we all know that's canon.
I
That one
didn't
is the
say
best.
that. I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
All right, Clinton, calm down.
I don't remember all of them.
Oh,
We have them written down, don't we? Somewhere.
yeah,
somewhere.
we had like a running track of it for a
Just
while.
Somewhere.
Hit up Rumbles, he'll tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Papa Always Said.
Right.
I think Big Feet, Big Hands is my favorite one.
That's okay.
Just
So
because
I just typed Rumbles in chat. I was like, Isolation Rumbles is like Big Feet, Big Hands. That's the one that came up. Stop.
I think that's my favorite because Buck has picked it up and made it part of his vocabulary, and only because of that.
We will be out
That's
in
it.
public, and Buck will be like, you know what Papa always says? Big feet, big hands. And we're like, sure.
I can't believe that Rumbles just spit that out. That's awesome.
Did you know anything about Ambrose's mom, or was it all from Wombat?
No, and character creation was extreme. Like, I like to get really deep into backgrounds and backstory and family life and things like that. And I could not get anything out of Wombat. Nothing. Wombat was a steel trap. I was like, so what is when he asks about his mom, what happens? He's like, oh, they look at you funny. I'm like, cool. Well, but what do they say? He's like, nothing. Okay. Well,
Did you
No,
find
it's
it
different.
hard, Wombat? Did you find it hard to hold back, like giving any information, or was like
Definitely.
keeping that mom like easy?
In general, trying to hold certain bits of information back from people, like especially in situations like with the stranger. Holding information back was fucking hard as nails. Because like, yeah, it's hard. it's hard.
what
Question.
did the character? I had questions for you guys related to this. If I can just
Yeah, interject, please do.
loop in. What did your characters think was going on with Ambrose?
Serenia honestly just thought he was a whack job. Just a country bumpkin. And like she's dumb. Like socially dumb, but like this guy was
But
a
with
whole
the
new level.
entity,
Yeah.
specifically.
Oh, the entity?
Because the entity, as far as because I think we established like the entity was very much something else, right?
Yeah.
So how did your characters reconcile that?
Serenia liked the entity. It was
Ah.
direct.
I
No
don't.
bullshit. To the point.
I don't think Mary ever met the entity. I think it was only ever Mork,
It was
Um,
Mork.
who thoroughly enjoyed both the entity and Thomas's because they were big and nasty and they looked weird. However, he saw Thomas's as more of a challenge, like he wanted to fight it. I was pleasantly surprised that like 3 of us, without speaking to each other, decided that our quaint characters would turn into horrific things.
Yeah.
Snados kind of respected the entity, like on that mom level sort of thing, because
Mom's
it
mom.
came out when Ambrose needed help or when things were like really bad
Yeah.
and they needed the support. And between that as well as the respect the entity showed for the god, Snaros was like, "You can come out anytime you want. I respect you, and I know I'll have your side." Stuff like that. And essentially, it was she knew it would protect Ambrose. It's why before she left, she said, protect him.
That got
It
real
was
sad
for
real quick.
Ambrose.
Ambrose just thought it was a friend.
A friend.
A friend. I'm gonna miss
Yeah,
doing
she
that
had no
voice.
idea
I'm
what
not gonna lie. I fall into
That's
it
a
so
whole new
easily.
meaning. You've got a friend in me.
You got a friend inside of you.
Wait a minute.
Coming out on our
A
remix
lot of
album.
context.
Ruh.
If you feel that there's a friend inside of you, it might be Serenia's tentacle, so check your holes.
Check your holes.
Ah.
Get away from that.
Little tenty. What a good little tentacle.
I got a world question.
Yes.
The fuck were Preston and Starrick?
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello.
Excellent.
My name is Father Preston.
So,
I'm here to tell you, the most amazing God.
Originally, they were just a random encounter, literally rolled off of a table. For that night that you guys were camping, I just rolled a dice on a encounter table, and we got 2 pilgrims of Metanoia stopped by the party's camp. And that happened, and they were going to offer to bless people for Metanoia. They blessed the one person it would have no effect on, so that's great. Yeah, and then they went and they succeeded in their ritual. They got merged into one being, essentially. But in that process, their forms were given to Metanoia to create essentially soldiers.
Like clones.
Yeah, they were like every time that you guys were having those multiple encounters, they were clones.
I said,
I
when we were
told
walking
you!
out, I said this. I was like, there's more of them.
And so during that ritual, Starrick lost all ability to speak, and Preston lost all ability to remember. So that's why they would always exchange looks, because Starrick would feed Preston information, Preston would speak it.
Oh.
So eventually we would have just had like an army of like 400 precedent stairs all at once. Oh, hello there! And it's just like a
Hello.
big wave of sound.
Yeah, it's just resounding in your head, but it's Lisa needs braces. Hello there. That sort of thing. Like, oh my god, they're everywhere.
Questions for Callie, kind of from all of us just looking through our list of questions. Had Snaros not had the curator keep catch up to her, was she headed right for Bleakford?
He would have continued after opening the book because for her it was a thing of she opened the book, like I said, during campaign, there was no one there to help her anymore. So she'd kind of given up. But yeah, she would have gone collected Moral with the help of Scaly Puppy. Because that would have now had been her way of seeing, essentially, until she learned to fight blind sight. And headed back to Bleakford.
And so Wombat had already said that the stones were like Izu related.
Mhm.
What's the 411 with the shard in the chest? What's with the Iron Man arc reactor?
You asking me or her?
Oh, wait, no.
Both of you.
Oh,
Whoever's willing to speak on it.
I just know it was because she took a shard. Even though she asked politely and was tasked with getting the other shard that the curator had back. The Lodestone wanted both the shards back.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 'cause I think you said it was
That's all I
Izu,
know.
but as I recall, in like the crystal thing, there was like 3 different people. But I can't remember what.
Yeah.
Did they
Who
just
were
Nothing
those
was
people?
nothing was learned about them. They were trap gods.
Oh, what gods?
Didn't figure that out.
I think we had that on our
Anyone who
bingo
said
card.
imprisoned on that list, maybe?
Yeah,
Probably.
could have been.
I didn't figure out which specific ones.
Yeah.
Stick it to the wall, the list, throw the dildo, whichever one it lands on.
Yeah,
It's not-
obviously.
Can anybody? I'm looking through my notes. Can anybody tell me what this note means? I have single line. Serenia is a filter feeder. What does that mean?
No idea.
What session was that?
Yeah, can we have like
Session
some
10.
context?
Session 10. Snowden, larger city, take over military. Jackson kills it on the loot. Next line, Serenia is a filter feeder.
I have no context.
I have no clue.
I have no idea.
The fuck?
This was when we were trying to get the boat back to the main continent.
Are you sure
Going
that
to
you read that you wrote down the right thing?
So it says Serenia is a filter feeder. I don't know.
What's a new one?
Wait,
Does that mean she sucked somebody in order to get on the boat?
no, I was
No.
thinking
No.
the only thing I remember about Jackson and Serenia before we got on the boat was when he called her adequate.
Functional.
Functional.
Mhm.
Is it functional,
Functional.
not filter feeder?
It's functional.
No. That's not the.
Oh. That seems too close together
Yeah.
for it to not be.
No, this is also. How do I look? You can say I look hideous. You look functional.
Oh, okay. Damn.
I also have a
So
line that just says sex talk. We get our own
Informative
cabin.
notes.
Next line, sex talk. Whose notes are these?
Informative notes.
Wait, are
So
they
helpful.
my notes? Because I did notes for a while.
I was gonna say,
No,
I'm
these
gonna
are
have to look
mine.
back
Okay.
at the same time.
Cry
Chris,
old.
session 10. We scheduled Ulrich's brother, who's strapped from what doesn't call him functional. Ambrose and Mary coffin dance Ogun into the boat. Jackson's learning how to do sailor things. Ambrose gets food. Ambrose is serving food. The
I have
doctor's a
Jackson
portal.
written down as Jackson gets the tall person job.
We've been at sea for a month. Zombies come at us. Ogun sleeps through. Serenia and Ambrose die. Ambrose no die. Resurrects Serenia. Mary goes and mushes a rat.
Me and Nikki have 2 very different note-taking types, neither of which are particularly helpful at the same time.
Nothing about filter feed. Oh, wait. Serenia equals salmon. Salmon. Salmon.
Yeah. There's some sort of fish reference in there.
Yeah. Very confused.
It might have been a metanoia curse that you had.
Maybe.
I have all of the metanoia curses, let's be honest.
Gotta catch them all.
Pokemon?
Oh,
First,
um,
first, first line, Where It's Colder, episode 1. Wombat is the best at intros. I'm sure it went something like, "Hi there, I didn't see you there."
Didn't see you there. Hi, we're fucking doing this again.
It was just
Something
me
like that.
stumbling my way through saying words.
yeah. Um, rounding back to Sateth real quick. Sateth comes back. She just like, hey, thanks, bye, or does she actually help?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
That's kind of one of the conspiracies we had, is that, and Nikki spearheaded this conspiracy very early on, could probably go find the receipts. We were all a god, or linked to a god, yay or nay.
definitely linked. Not all of you were gods.
So was it Mera for Serenia,
Metanoia.
Sateth? It was metanoia?
Mm.
I thought for sure it was the old god of time. No. All right. Well, I know Unit 1.
Yeah, we know that one now.
Storm god, Ogun had the council, and Emnius for Ambrose.
Emnia / Hearth. Yeah.
So we had a
Hearth,
mix
yeah.
of oracles and old gods.
Interesting.
Mm.
What
So
was your
those
thought
of us
process about? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just asking if the idea behind those of us that weren't like born from a god or had a god in us, if we were just like going to be champions for the gods that we were connected to.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't think any of you were gonna make it as gods per se. I think you probably would have ended up either being like minor gods or paragons.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what was your
Paragons are
thought
essentially
process
champions.
behind like giving some of us, obviously like Ogun's family was an oracle, but like Serenia being an oracle versus everyone else being gods? Like, what was your thought process?
Literally just backstories. I just sort of worked off of stuff. Like for you, it was definitely a toss-up between Mera, for Goddess of Time, or Metanoia, and I chose Metanoia because essentially, like, he was, top shit in Brimore at that point. And he's already sort of collected your family, complete the collection. And
That's
you
fair.
were a blood mage. Metanoia is big into blood and flesh and gore. So it all sort of just went that way to me compared to time.
That's fair.
What would the Metanoia Farah crossover have looked like
Ugh. What
Yeah,
do you mean?
with
I thought
Serenia?
about that a little bit.
Oh. It there would be a time, like an amount of time where you would have been able to essentially be blessed by both, but eventually it would get to a point where, because the oracles, like, they're on the same team and everything, but they're essentially like siblings, like they still bicker and fight. So like Metanoia is very calm and very welcoming to people. He's like the most chill of the old gods. Not the old gods.
Oracles.
Oracles. Pharaoh is less so. Especially being chained up. It's kind of fucked.
And she's chained up by Aizu, right?
No, she's chained up by the old gods.
Oh.
I thought it was Aizu.
No.
Definitely thought it was going to be Aizu.
No, yeah. The Aizu's things are a lot of chains and that, but it's not related.
How'd the old gods get her?
Skill, luck, power. That's a story for another time, though.
Okay.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah. Eventually, it would get to a point where Farah and Metanoia would make you choose which one you would follow.
Interesting. Interesting. And to answer the question Chris asked later, which is in tandem, he was asking who would I have chosen between Metanoia and Farah. Probably would have chosen Farah, but Metanoia got to her. And obviously we didn't go that way. We went that way.
Yeah.
Question for Chris. Would anything have made Mary run in the last fight? Like, what would have been... Was there anything that would have been the turning point for Mary being like, I'm getting out of here?
Not really. I mean, the whole point of building this... I built Mary a lot around the class, which is sort of how I do. I figure, find the class, find what's going to be cool about it, and sort of work from there. And knowing that in combat he's taken over by this rage-filled thing, you're not going to run. The only... and definitely not afterwards, because there's the moment where he's knocked out, so he's out of his rage. And then Serenia picks him back up, and then she dies. And in that moment of coming back up, he doesn't know if the curator killed her or he killed her. So he's not going anywhere then. It's just like, what's the point?
Didn't think of that.
Yeah. That's why I didn't... she was... Tay was like messaging me like, get those potions, you could do it. Like, nah, it's time to...
it broke me.
Time to pay the price.
Damn.
It broke me that Serenia didn't cast Resurrection on herself. She had all the components.
I wouldn't have let that fly.
That's some bullshit right there.
Was there a life experience that Mary wanted to have but never had?
I think most of them. He was always on the outside looking in, which is probably another reason why he was a bit iffy around Ambrose and Snaros quite a lot, because they both had well-established families, and especially Ambrose with that little brother energy, and he just can't understand it. And yeah, I think I said during creation that he'd work at night as a bounty hunter and grab people, but then during the day he'd go to the arts district and just sit in and watch players and try and understand people and emotions. I think he wanted to know what eating food felt like that satisfaction of ending a fast and you feel slightly full. And he wanted to feel like pure joy, because the only thing he ever felt was a little bit of loathing, and especially in his mockery, just constant rage, which he doesn't remember. So now he does, thanks to the curator there.
Yeah. Can we extend that question to the rest of us as well? Like, what was a specific experience that all of us wish we had? I want to pick at Serena first. Honestly, I really want to know what she would have liked as a life experience that she never had.
Conquering the 9 hells. That'll do
Immortality. Yeah.
I think that's really it. And it's like, yeah. I have to think on it like a real answer. Like, yeah, immortality is obviously the answer, because her goal was she had 3 goals: save her parents, / go back in time and stop whoever took her parents from taking her parents, building a city in the 9 hells / conquering the 9 hells, and then cheating death as long as she can. Obviously never did any of those. I mean, I guess she kind of cheated death a little bit, because in another timeline she's still kicking. So
I'm sad that you didn't make Serenia a drow, so that you could have joined the club for the drow war crimes.
Of war crimes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, she could change her form into a drow.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
She's all of them.
It's not if you're a drow on the outside, it's how you drow on the inside that counts.
Cryo wanted to see Jackson start his own small business or charity, which is
That's actually sweet.
pretty on brand for Jackson.
Charity
isn't it?
for Scions, bastard children of gods. Is that what
I think it's a
your
charity
charity would
for
be?
rich boys who don't currently have access to the money, so they need your money.
Both of those are topics to books and comics. Both of those.
Yeah.
One is called Batman, the other one's called Percy Jackson.
There you go.
Yeah, what
Ambrose.
about the rest of you guys?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, life experience.
What did Ambrose want to do?
Yeah, a life experience he really wanted but never had.
Ambrose isn't capable of long-term thought.
Aside
Come
for
on.
his-
No. Ambrose was just happy to be here. Ambrose lives in the moment. He didn't have goals. He
Mm.
really wanted to find his mom, but the most important thing and the thing that occupied his thoughts is I'm happy to be with my friends and I have moral here and I love everybody and that's it. Too stupid to plan.
You didn't want to like make the perfect chicken pie or something.
No. No. You learn
Not
from
even
your
that.
mistakes. So if I make something perfect, then I can't learn it anymore.
Goddamn.
What about Mary? Or Snaros?
She wanted to, aside for being able to revive Sateth and apparently be the champion, she wanted to go home to no war and actually have a family.
That's too cute.
Like-
Cryo says he wants to start a small school slash charity, a small business slash charity, an academy where bastards with powers can go shunned by society so they can focus on their power for good. And Nikki's like, X-Men. Got it.
See?
She ain't wrong. Remember that one time we were like, what X-Men are you? And we like had a meme about it. We should bring that up for this moment.
Bring that back.
Yeah.
This was predicted for right now.
I think Ambrose was Jubilee. Wasn't that who Ambrose
I'm gonna go find it.
Jubilee, the power being plot motivation. That's Jubilee's power. I got
That's
kidnapped
Jubilee's
again,
power.
guys. My name's Jubilee.
Poor Jubilee. I don't remember what we said.
I'm
think-
finding it. Pause.
Colossus has to be.
Oh, I was thinking a mixture of Colossus and Juggernaut for those personality splits. Colossus,
Yes.
hello, I'm nice and helpful. Also, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Thank you, Vinnie Jones. Always thank you.
I mean, Jackson was Storm. That was obvious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's exactly what we did.
Snaros was the ice lady. What's her name?
Emma Frost.
Emma
Emma
Frost.
Frost.
Thank you.
I only know that because I can feel the glares of Buck staring at me, being like, "You
Ogin was the one that teleports. Whatever his
Nightcrawler.
name is.
Nightcrawler."
No, it's that beast, Nightcrawler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. What was Serenia?
Was she Rogue?
Was it Rogue? Yeah.
Oh.
Feel like
Yeah.
it would have been Rogue.
Just
Man,
Rogue
this is like
changed her look.
incredibly hard to find. There's 4,000 images in this damn server.
We did so many charts,
We just
putting
many
each other's
memes.
character into so much shit that just gets lost
Yeah.
in the ether.
We'll find it and post it again. We'll find it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did all have X-Men. It's true.
I have questions for Wombat.
Yes, sir.
Ask them.
I think we might all be interested in this one, which is what were the next stages for like the characters' personalized feats, or where were they generally heading?
Yeah, that's a. I hadn't like sort of planned some of them out too much. Generally, I just had a general theme that I wanted to run with for each of them. So for Snaros, as she got her feet stronger and stronger, she got more stuff that was dragon related. So she was getting spells from outside of her class, which were dragon related, like Dragon's Breath, Dragon's Claw, Dragon Scale, that sort of thing. Mary was sort of two-faceted. Mary was getting stronger. Getting stronger, but also Mary was going to be getting a couple spells as well that Mork was able to cast as the different sparks of Unit 1 were added to Mary. There would be almost different personalities within you, and like they would be able to cast other spells.
That's interesting because a plan of mine at some point, I'm not sure when it felt right, when I felt that Mary had gotten smart enough, I was going to multi-class him into Artificer. Like, this is his day.
Wow.
This is what he does during the day. He has the brains. He's like he's trying to figure out the universe, and then turn to a big rage monster and eat everyone like a toaster does. But yeah, that's interesting.
Ambrose's was focused around making Circle of the Spores a better subclass.
Shit.
Those
yeah,
goddamn
I
Constitution
Really
saving
shit?
throws.
I gave, like, at the most recent one, I gave Ambrose a thing that increased the damage from the Halo of Spores, and I think some other stuff. But yeah, it was generally all going in that sort of direction of more mushroomy shenanigans. Like, eventually I was going to get to the point where Ambrose could summon in a little mushroom dude to help. Or like, I was going to give you the ability to, when you wild shape, you get the stats of like a Myconid soldier sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
As an
Yeah,
option.
for anybody who's thinking of playing a Circle of Spores druid, don't. If you want to optimize, just don't.
It's good. It's good for like. It's good for actual like creating a character, but it is bad for mechanics.
Yes, it's not good from combat. It's just not. None of the Circle of Spores stuff is good. But it's fun to play. I had a good time playing it. But yeah. I had a question. What happened to the tadpoles?
You introduced Grung to the world.
I made Grung. Do they worship Ambrose as their god?
They worship something. Yeah.
Is it a cow person?
It's something like that.
What do they worship?
Something along the lines of Ambrose.
Oh my god.
I can imagine
The circle.
Their
Go.
creator.
Or just their very basic concept of like life and death. You get a kiss from Cow Daddy, and then when your time has come, you are yeeted by the arm, and no one knows where you go from there. They all remember the arm.
The arm. All fear the arm.
To not leave our viewers hanging, we have found the X-Men photo. Snaros is Emma Frost. Ambrose is Deadpool? Question mark.
Fourth wall. For all breaking the fourth wall.
Serenia is Mystique.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, Marigold was Nightcrawler.
No,
no, Marigold was
Beast.
Beast. Ogun was Nightcrawler. Jackson is Storm. Yeah. We were all pretty real blank to the slate. But then also
feel like
in the same
I missed the boat on Jubilee for Ambrose. That was my mistake. Sorry.
But then someone, and by that someone I mean Buck, pointed out that we're actually the Guardians of the Galaxy. Which is
Groot.
like
Groot.
No one was Groot. Which is
who is it?
You were Mantis. Ambrose was Mantis.
Oh, that makes sense. Yes, Mantis.
That checks hard.
Thanks, Cryo fucking cunt.
Who is Snaros?
Gamora.
Snaros
surely.
is Nebula.
Cryo.
Which feels right.
Star-Lord.
Yes. Mary was Drax. Serenia
Yeah.
was Gamora, and Ogun was Adam Warlock. Can't forget Adam. We didn't really have Moral could have been Groot.
Nah.
Morals group.
Baby Groot.
Yeah,
Moral
literal,
did
in the
talk
plot.
sort of like Groot.
Did. True.
Always loved Nikki putting Wombat in the fucking hot seat and trying to say this. Look on his face, like
Yeah, I knew that I was giving away a look every time it happened. I was just like, oh fuck.
I tried not to do it to you too often. I hope it wasn't gratuitous.
Nah,
I
it's
tried
fine.
not to.
It's fine. It
I
was fine.
got one in the last episode, so I gotta
It was
sneak
fun.
one in.
I was never sure how to voice him.
You did
I,
so great.
I could have just gone.
What?
Could have gone. Home, can, home.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Cunt.
like
Laurel,
an
where'd
old
you learn that
Australian
word?
man's parrot try to talk.
Yeah, literally.
Legally
If
obligated
we'd
that every
gotten-
parrot in Australia knows how to say fuck. Anyway, continuing.
If we had gotten to any of our home play, most importantly, if we had gotten to Hearth,
Mhm.
would you have NPC'd Ambrose's dad? And were you prepared to do the accent?
Yes.
Can we hear
we
the
hear
accent,
it?
please?
No.
Please.
Nope.
Just like
Only
do us
one.
the smallest
I-
favor.
No.
Just a little morsel, just like a
No.
howdy.
You know what this
Mm.
is?
Always says.
This is the consequences of our actions coming back to haunt us. Team fuck around
Yeah,
and
you guys-
find out.
You guys would have found out if you didn't suicide yourselves.
We didn't fuck around.
FAFO. FAFO tried their best, okay?
That's what the party
What
should
Who
be.
was-
shy?
Fafo.
Yeah. What it was?
Uh-oh.
What was up with Shy?
Yeah, what was up with shy?
What about
Yeah. What in particular?
She was there.
She
What-
existed.
What was she, and why was she so important to Sneros? Mainly, what was she? Because like she always had a mask. Just
She was just a human, just really disfigured.
From fighting Omen.
Mm.
Omen disfigured her face.
Yeah,
Well-
Nikki got a little bit of an insight for where it's colder. But yeah, after in the OG fight against Omen, Shy was very badly injured and horribly disfigured on her face. But she did manage to successfully kill fucking Omen. And then he just came
A lot
back.
of good that fucking did.
He came,
Yeah.
he came back because he's
Mhm.
Omen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now she wears a mask, and yeah, just it's a mask that like constantly changes when people aren't looking.
how were we supposed to kill Omen? I feel like we may have eventually gotten to that.
That's a good
So how
question.
we-
That's a really good question.
Yeah, so Omen is a bit of a interesting character because he died a lot, like a lot he died, but he kept coming back. And that is he's not undead. That's for starters. He's not undead. He was a fae, but his weapon, the scythe, Broken Oaths, was essentially acting as a phylactery for him. So as long as it existed, he would come back.
It's always the Fae. It's always the Liches.
Fucking
Fucking
Faye.
Oh, we
Fucking
broke
Fae.
it.
It's always the
was
Fae.
fine.
Fucking Faye.
Fucking Faye.
Were there any NPCs that we didn't really get to play with too much? Like I'm thinking the Ronnies and Floyd and the Mark and
Well,
uh
Floyd is not our fault.
no,
my
but I
fault.
mean like how who we spent the most time with,
Hmm.
who had other things for us, but we didn't get to it.
Yeah, everyone had a little something. Like every character had at least one sort of thing that they would be like, "Hey, I've
Side
got a
quest.
quest. I've got a quest for you." Yeah, in case you guys asked, but didn't really happen. But yeah, like everyone just had a little thing. Like I think for Floyd, he was gonna ask you guys for help renovating his shop, and eventually
Aw.
that would lead into bad things.
I would, yeah, I would have really liked that. I think I was missing that from the start of our thing, like doing stuff with other people, because it was very much a this dude's just turned everyone into a flash thing, and he's gonna go. You're like, shit. All right, Floyd, don't have time to do your shop right
Yeah.
now, mate. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Don't have time for cinnamon buns. Thanks, bestie. Wild.
Mm,
Look at us.
look at us.
Look at us.
If I'm right, I'm
Um,
thinking Book Time Session 1 was the first thing that we streamed, right?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Book of Time Session 3 was the first thing that we streamed.
Was it
The
Session
first
But,
two
like, Book of-
sessions
Yeah,
were,
we're recorded still.
yeah.
They're out there. We just uploaded them direct to video, direct to DVD. We were just like reminiscing yesterday how this all started. Bless our cotton socks. One day we'll unpack that story.
Anyway,
Good story.
continuing on. Any more questions?
Yeah. I always
Yeah.
have more questions. Are you kidding?
Yeah, go.
Ask.
They made faces at me. This setting is dark and gritty and stuff. Was it frustrating to have a bunch of rays of sunshine in your super gritty world?
I'm pretty sure if you rewatch the sessions, you can see. And I'm pretty sure there's even a video on TikTok which is just me slowly losing my shit.
I made it. I
Yeah.
made that video.
Yeah.
It was like definitely a shift from what I was expecting / wanted. But it was fine. You know, it was fun. Yeah, it was a good time.
Are you expecting the next session to be darker? The next campaign?
It's going to be a different experience. But
Cryo says Wombat is sunshine.
Sunshine.
yeah, I hate you, Cryo.
Rick, love you, Cryo. We still love you.
Yeah.
Now get in the
Meh.
Yeah, the it's going to be a different experience. It's still going to be dark and gritty because that's my I think I enjoy writing those more. But I'm 100% expecting more just rays of sunshine from you guys because you guys are you guys.
I have a feeling, not to give anything away, the next one might be a little mixed. So I'm intrigued to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Come back on session 0 to find out a little bit about us, what we're playing, and about the campaign.
We have so many conspiracies already happening.
The fuck?
Come back.
Yeah.
Wombat, we have an entire chat that you're not in.
I know.
Cryo, we need to know if you're back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You're
we've
here.
we've pinged Cryo so
Cryo.
many times, and we're like, we know you're watching. We know what your
We know
life
you're
is
here.
like. We know your timeline. Are you coming back for campaign 2?
I told him the
Is this
start
going to
date.
be?
I
Is
told
this
him the
going to be the
start
big
date.
reveal?
I told him the start date, and I also told him that he said when I told him it and asked if he was coming back, he said that he might. It depends on work and if his boss could find someone to cover his shift. But then I said, just tell your boss now that you need from that date on off, and then it's his problem because you've given him like a month in advance. So yeah,
So
Waits
do that,
patiently.
Cryo.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
up to him if he actually, wants to be our friend or not.
Come
Yeah,
be our
Cryo,
friend
you hear?
again. We missed you.
If you don't love us, it's on the internet now. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I realised I
What?
haven't.
There's still quite a few that aren't asked yet.
I
in
realised I
the
had a few that I
text.
We
haven't
have a
asked.
ton.
For
Yes,
Wombat, for the
yes.
memes, were you taken aback when I started drowning you in 6 inches of water? Because I know we put
That was so
tags.
good.
We put tags on that, but I'm not sure. At one point in my brain, I clicked and I went, "What if I just hold on to him? And what if I
Yeah.
just
Didn't let go.
start crying and putting him into the bath?" Like, if you ever see Little Nicky, where he needs to go back to hell, but he needs to die to go there, it's like, let me do it. I've always wanted to. It's like holding him down in the bath and crying. Oh, God.
What was the thing about us as players surprised you the most? Like, what did we do that was totally out of pocket?
Uh, 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 go up north for one session and then leave. When I've been pointing at one spot on the map in particular for like the entire time for like fucking 6 sessions.
Yeah.
What a time.
That's when democracy did not work. I remember I watched some of the stuff back. I'm sat there arguing that I don't want to go to the north, and then we got to the north, and they're like, right, we'll go. And I went, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave the north.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was intrigued by what was going on up there. Plus, even though I know that Mary didn't want to be there, I was interested to see if we went to Coltai because that's where Jasper was.
Well, no, Jasper was in Bleakford.
Well, he was, you know,
Briefly.
Surprise!
business
Briefly. He
dealings,
was
you know.
shopping.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was shopping.
he's just getting his next monster, you know. What a guy.
Are you prepared for the number of shopping sessions that will occur in the next campaign, now having been our DM for 20-something sessions?
It wasn't 20 sessions.
That's minus where it's colder, remember?
Okay, yeah. 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 Yep.
I don't think we did shopping too bad in this campaign.
That's all Wombat thinks we did. Wombat thinks all we did was shop and argue.
You're not wrong. So what
We
happens when
used
you make a
democracy.
very divisive thing? Like, we need to do this, and everyone with their
Yeah.
backside meter goes, no.
There was no more. Yeah, it was all based on our morals. It
Yeah.
wasn't easy. That is for sure.
What's everybody's character alignment?
Good
Lawful
question. I need to check.
I think I was
Sure.
chaotic neutral.
I think I was chaotic neutral.
If I'm not mistaken.
Chaotic good. So we just had a chaos party, except for
Yeah.
Snaros.
I think
That,
Well,
I think
Logan
that
was
played
Good
out.
and
I
tried
think
Again.
so
that played
hard.
out.
Wasn't
Again,
it
was
lawful
lawful
evil?
evil. Yeah.
Marigold was actually chaotic good, which does make sense. He's trying to be nice, but also, you know.
I can't believe that Ogeen was lawful.
Lawful evil.
No,
Honestly,
he did not follow the laws.
Yeah.
He went from, I think he was chaotic neutral, and then after he took a level in Warlock, his alignment changed to lawful evil.
Oh, hey,
What was
no
he
wonder,
before?
like,
Chaotic neutral.
Okay.
no wonder Snaros and Jackson were like the mom and dad of the party. Jackson was also lawful good.
Daddy. Sorry, Daddy.
No, we all
Sorry.
decided
Sorry.
Jackson was daddy. And then we saw a picture of Jackson's daddy and we're like, you want to adopt daddy? Like, hello, hi, we're available.
I forgot about the
Jesus.
thirst trap that was Jackson's dad. Jackson's cook of a dad, anyway.
Jackson's family is so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wombat, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Character thoughts, questions about us as players.
You can say no, it's fine.
Praise. Compliments.
the question of why is also a
Feed our
decent question.
egos.
Just why?
Just
Anything
let
you
him
want
say
to just
for the
air
next
out.
29 minutes.
You guys have a good time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
great.
Wow.
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 You do a really
It
good
was-
job of rolling with our stupid fucking punches because we were
Yes,
chaos.
Brady, yeah.
Yeah, it was nice crying on and off randomly for the past week.
Yeah, we wouldn't be
Same.
sad. We wouldn't be sad if it wasn't good.
Mhm.
So
That's a point.
All right.
but hey, Jackson gets to carry on.
Yeah.
Tell our story.
What do you think?
Who
Jackson didn't
lives,
come
who
back into the
dies,
world.
who tells our
Tells your
story?
Do we have any more? I wanted to know what the curator's whole deal was, but it kind of got answered in the epilogue. So I'm
Yeah,
like,
he told us.
yeah.
I think we probably gone through the plot points part.
Yeah, we really talked about it all.
Because we know that
We were ready.
we know that there was character arcs, but was there any particular character goals that you wanted to see that weren't like baked into the campaign, like what the players actually wanted to do?
Mm.
In the same turn, was I the only one with an absolutely obscene character goal? Did someone else have something absolutely unobtainable? No, just me? Okay, I'll sit over here.
I think it's just you.
I mean,
Checks out.
reviving a god is
Obeen.
pretty
What about
big.
Obeen? Yeah.
Yeah, but you need some context as well, because we'd come out of a world rebirth. So I particularly did not want any sort of world conquering plans because I was tired of that.
Mm.
But I know for me, I wanted
Ambrose.
the brains and the brawn to get together and to calm down.
Ambrose was my like antithesis to a world's rebirth. I wanted to really play the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry you got stuck with that, Wombat, but I wanted to play a stupid friendly person instead of a smart bitch.
I may have been a little bitter over the dragon thing, so I went very dragon heavy for Snaros.
You've been very dragon heavy for every character, every single
Okay.
one.
Here's a fun game I want to play real quick with the players.
Yeah, what's up?
Our new characters, without giving anything away about them, are they closer to your AWR character or your Book of Time character?
Nikki, if
We're
you say
going by
book of
current
time,
characters,
I'm going
right?
to slap you.
Allie, go first.
We're going with current characters, right?
Yeah.
Or
for a Book of Time, you can... Not Book of Time. For a World Rebirth, you can use Eclipsa as well.
No.
We don't count fully.
Yeah, we don't talk about who. New character is probably closer to Anoana, just a little bit. There's still some Snaros there, but a little closer to Anoana.
Chris.
Definitely closer to Balthazar than Marigold, because Marigold is fucking a giant fridge with anger issues.
Is he closer to Balthazar or Lucian?
Oh, Balthazar. Yeah. Definitely. Although, just to interject, made a very good point in the chat asking how Jackson would have dealt with our deaths and how he would have reacted to it.
Yeah, I really want Cryo to be in here.
He says that he would have had a hard
Guilt.
time processing it and will probably have had survivor's guilt. He would have made sure you all have proper burials somewhere nice and expensive.
Because that's what we would have wanted.
Make sure
Expensive.
it's
Yes,
spenny.
exactly what I wanted. Thank you.
I want a
Please, all of the
chrome
money.
coffin. All right.
Yeah.
They would just
Snaros
scrap
not
you
have
for
gone,
parts.
like, the
Don't be
traditional way.
stupid.
And what about Nikki? Ambrose or May?
My character has the highest intelligence score in the party.
So Ambrose.
So Ambrose.
May. May.
Obviously, so May. Good.
Mhm.
Can't wait. I'm so excited.
But chaos. So there's a little bit of both, I'd say, but it's not 50-50. It's definitely leaning towards the getting shit done kind of thing rather than the
Glad
party
one of
food
us
thing.
is there. Good.
Yeah.
Could someone
Uh,
answer that for Thomas as he's not here?
Yes.
It's Ogin.
Rakesh. Closer to Rakesh.
You think it's
Really?
closer to Rakesh?
Yeah.
I think it's closer
yeah,
to Ogin.
probably Rakesh.
I know nothing about Thomas's character. He's a tight-lipped bastard. I mean, love you,
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yes.
Definitely closer to Rakesh, I think.
Oh,
Cryo
How about
says he's
you?
gonna put me. I have Serenia.
Yeah, but is it closer to Serenia or further on the other side of the spectrum? We know what Serenia is.
Like probably right in the middle. Like very Serenia, but also not at all Serenia. Much lighter and brighter.
She's the
And
sunshine of the party
happier.
now.
She's closer to Ambrose than Serenia.
Yay! We get an Ambrose! So excited.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Sneros Kasarinha.
Wait till you hear her voice.
Yes.
I want to hear her voice so bad.
What? Are you gonna do it?
Am I going to do my voice?
Yeah.
Not until we start the game. You guys aren't getting a
Exactly.
single fucking taste until we start the game.
Join us for session 1. Yeah.
It's gonna be
Jackson says he's gonna
juicy
put up a
voice.
memorial for us.
Hell
Right
yeah.
where we first met. I expect bronze statues, baby. Including, but not limited to, the very small rat otter I made you and he threw away for no love. Fine.
Empty chairs and empty tables.
Yes.
Empty rat bodies.
I can't remember what his name is, but like it's what's his name?
Marius.
Who does Newt Scamander?
Eddie Redmayne?
Eddie Redmayne, isn't it? Who
Yeah,
plays
I don't
him?
know.
Yeah. In the film, he's like crying about how his friends have died during the revolution, and it's just him left over. And it's on about like the empty tables and stuff. And like that's Jackson at the end with his loot.
Oh, Jackson. Hope you're doing good up there, buddy.
But now everybody's alive and we can all if Jackson was in the room with us, would Jackson go up north with the party to stay with the party, or would he stay in Seoul and run his dad's company?
He'd leave again.
All in this
Sneros is on a mission now to get those eggs because now she remembers them. That's why she wants to head north. Time
I
to
need
get
a dozen
some
eggs so I can make those pies that I promised you.
Can't wait for you guys to go up north for like a day and then leave. That'd be great.
No, we're going to go on the grand tour of the north. We're going to all meet each other's families because that's the one thing that we didn't get to do. We're going to all meet each other's family.
True.
This is my papa
Also, I
Jasper.
need to get more
He put
tackles.
me in a dungeon and beat me daily.
But he didn't. But he didn't.
Not on this timeline. You would have a bullet
Yeah.
wound.
Which is interesting because I think from there, then it probably means that he doesn't have the Mork episodes because the whole part of it was that it was like ripped from him, and that issue was causing him to take over, whereas he wasn't carrying it anymore. It was trying to take over.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Oh, Mary.
Even in that moment, though, we were at Serenia's house. Like, oh yeah, where we go? Just playful robot man because grown up around people who teach him things. Yeah.
Cryo has a question for Wombat. Please hold. Insert Jeopardy music
I don't
here.
want to answer his fucking question.
Do, 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 do,
Do,
do,
do,
do.
If Jackson's dad died, what would happen to the company?
Probably inherited by either Jackson or his mom.
Just curious. Just the curious. Just Jackson and his mom. Oh, Jackson. Bless that guy's cotton socks.
And also, I think
Okay.
you mean when Jackson's dad dies.
Touche.
Anyway.
Touche.
He wouldn't leave the company to Aizu?
Maybe. It just depends on if he's got a choice.
Hey, why do you ask who Snaros hates? I'm looking at these questions and I just noticed that one. Why are you asking who does she hate the most?
Did anyone
What?
else play the same campaign I am? Because it was just Snaros only loved Ambrose.
Yeah,
That's true.
we noticed.
That's true.
We only only love for Ambrose.
I think she had to hate Serenia the most, right? Because of the jackalope.
Probably.
I forgot
The
about the
jackalope, but she
jackalope.
just did not like any of the decisions she kept making. She
YOLO.
actually liked Mary. Believe it or not, she did like Mary.
Really?
He was just, yeah, she did.
Well, he's
She
very
actually liked him. It
conflicted.
was just 'cause
I
he
imagine it's like
followed
trying to be.
Serenha so heavily, it made it hard for her to connect with him. But she did like him.
I like to think as an outsider watching the party, like trying to get on with Marigold is like trying to be friends with the alcoholic at your family, where they're really good a lot of the time, and then they just turn and they always make a mess of it, and then just forget about it.
That's exactly how Ambrose approached it. Like that we don't like Uncle Mary when he has a few too many, but like he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Was meeting the jackalope planned, or was it an on-the-spot thinking from Cryo in chat?
That was all improvised. I think that entire session was improvised. Like when we went to the break, the break was extra long because I had to quickly go into Google, find a battle map, and then plan out everything.
The tree, the associate at the tree, yeah.
Yeah, everything in that
Expect
session was
Snaros to
improvised.
catch God.
Yeah. Thought
Did
so.
the god
Good
let
ship, my
himself
guy.
get captured?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did you choose? I have a big question, and I don't know if it has an answer, but it is for Wombat. Why did you choose not to bail us out to end the campaign?
Because I felt like it would have been cheap. I bailed you out several times before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I run hard games.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to end the campaign that early. But those times, like, I will be honest, most of those fights at the start, like, especially against, like, the Associate and that, like, the first time fighting the Associate was damn near unwinnable for you guys. But that was more of sending a message that this is not a world that you want to fuck with. So I bailed you out of that one, and then like sort of like I kept on doing it, but this one felt too important to do that. It was either
Yeah,
you
we
guys are gonna
talked a
do it or you
lot.
won't.
We talked a lot, like behind the scenes, about like what we were gonna do. There was a lot of conversation because we didn't want to take up all of the on-screen time with the same
Arguing.
conversation. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
because we probably would have gone on forever.
Yeah.
We never would have agreed because like Mary was indifferent. Mary wanted to just, and Chris is now here, so he'll correct me if I'm wrong. But with the curator and giving the curator the book and that whole situation in the final fight, like Mary just didn't want to give it up. Would rather have the curator dead.
Yeah.
Ambrose just wanted friend, but also didn't want people to die.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't give him the book,
Snaros.
but wanted him to change his mind.
Yeah. Snaros, from my perspective, would have given up the book if that meant Ambrose lived. Which obviously we saw in the end giving up the book for an answer about Ambrose. Ogun was in the same boat as Mary, and I know this from talking to Thomas. He was ready to give the book to his dad. And be like, he bargained with his dad, like dedicated servitude.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. We played with that.
There were a
for, like,
lot of things thrown around for what to do with the book.
And then Serenia was write the book out of existence. She was willing to drain everything she had to write the book, to write the curator out of existence.
I think it would have taken a little bit more than what you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think
if we had
did
met
discuss a lot.
Broodmother parents, maybe we could have drained them of their blood.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah.
Literally, though.
I think
so.
for Mary, because he learned very weirdly about morals and about hurting people. He didn't want to hurt anyone. That was the split that I had with the character. One of them really did want to hurt things because it was fun. The other one didn't. And then just having this dude be like, "I'm going to bring back my family, but it's going to kill a lot of people." It's like, well, you shouldn't do that. And then it's the comment of like inaction, because like he can see himself being stuck in that basement getting tortured because no one came in and said you shouldn't do that. He had to save himself. So then he's like, right, we have to stop this crazy man.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Buck.
Ooh.
Oh. Buckley.
It says, if the party had survived, but your character was the only one who didn't, what would you be playing?
I need to go to the toilet, so I'll let you guys answer this one. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a hard one.
It's a good question. I mean, obviously you need to work with Wombat a lot. I would be interested. Hello, Cryo. I would be interested
Cryo's
to
here.
play. I'm not sure of the class, but I would be interested to play someone who was actually associated with one of the other oracles, throwing some fucking
Yeah,
spice into the mix. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I had built a character that I was going to try and see could have been a bounty hunter after Ogun.
Yeah.
That was my backup.
I was building, and I had built a Battlemaster Paladin multi-class. That was ready to go. Very, very lawful good, like uncomfortably lawful good.
That's quite
I was
the
going to go more
change from
gritty.
Serenia.
I feel like Ambrose was pissing off
Yeah.
Wombat so much.
She
I
was
just
such
like,
a
I'll go
change.
full bore. Yeah.
She was bright pink and really
Yep.
down the line. Literally bright pink. Like I will send to Hero Forge in chat later. Like
Oh
she
my
is.
God, the Hero
bright
Forge
pink.
is so good. It's so much pink.
It's so pink. I have it somewhere. But she was the lit.
I have another character that I probably would have pulled in. She would have been a human warlock that had no idea who her deity was, but just kind of knew it was an archfey of sorts, and would have been.
It would have been Omen.
calling- It would have been. Oh fuck! No, she would have been doing what she thought was the right thing. Whether it was or not is debatable. But
Yeah, Carly, I know. I was here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'll back Wombat up. Sometimes Ambrose grind my gears, but that's because I'm an old,
yeah,
cynical British person who doesn't want all this positivity in my face. But that's just
that's
because
fine. I'm 26 and he got on my gear sometimes too.
I'm so cantankerous, honestly. But I really did like the shift with Ambrose and the entity. I wanted to see a little bit more of the entity than we got.
Oh my god, that's a lot of pink.
She was Kalishtar Battlemaster Paladin was the plan.
God,
If
she's so
Serenia had
pretty.
died.
She's so pretty.
Oh shit, yeah.
So
Hang on,
pink.
Yeah, I didn't
In spoilers in Discord.
I didn't even make a second character, which I usually do. I just I know
I did.
I know they probably would have been oracles related. But then I would have figured it out after
After
that.
we hit the associate, I thought I'm going to start having a backup, like, ready to go.
The
The
minute I
associate scared me.
The associate
the minute
did
I
wreck our
realized-
collective arseholes.
yeah.
Mhm.
The minute I
Art's not
started dipping
mine.
myself into the Molly Mock territory
Yeah.
of anything I can do can kill myself, because I was like, I should probably be ready. No.
Isn't she cute? Carly says she's cute. Sorry, Callie.
You're
Thanks.
fine. I was just sharing the reference image that I had for my human.
Oh, let me see.
I've seen her before because I talked about her. She would have had a bunny familiar.
Bunny.
Oh, I'm shocked. She has white hair. She into dragons?
It's not white. That's blue and purple. That
That's
is not
definitely white on top. That's definitely white on top.
Yeah,
She into
Chris,
dragons.
Blue.
I don't think you were here for it, Chris.
Mm.
But we're talking about why I chose not to bail everyone out in the last fight.
Mm.
And I was just when you said like the associate was Nikki said the associate was scary, and you agreed. Yeah, I like the associate was very much the point of like it was meant to sort of show you guys don't fuck with this world. It's
Yeah.
dangerous.
And we
yeah.
did, and we died.
We did.
Which I get, but based on our party makeup, I think if we had just gone
Yeah.
straight to Ichibi and we'd have heard him out because we didn't know as much by then, we probably would have just still got the book and then we would have been where we were at, but at level 3 instead of level 6. Our slight detour to the north did prep us somewhat, but
I don't think there was any scenario in us ever giving over the book. I don't think there was ever a chance, to be honest. It would have had to have been taken from us by force.
And that was
Like-
entirely possible. That was like another sort of that was another thing that I was sort of planning to do, so then you guys wouldn't have to do that fight. Which was you guys just continue about your business trying to figure out a way to get rid of the fucking book. And eventually, you know, you encounter a fight, maybe it's a bit too hard. You guys go down and the curator just walks in, yoinks the book, fucks off.
and then it's going on to trying to stop him.
And then
again.
it's yeah. So that's like the other way, but instead you guys came up with the idea, hey, let's just kick his ass. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
I think we
Would
did
it have
quite
worked
well.
to throw it in the hearth?
Yeah. It would have caused very big damage, killing the hearth, but yes.
It would have killed the hearth?
Yes, but it would have
Oh
taken the book with it.
shit.
So that was the gate. That was the one.
It wasn't the one. There was other ways to do it, but it was probably one of the easier access ones.
But
We
it was-
talked about it for a brief minute.
We talked about it a lot, and we weren't sure if it was going to work. But that was okay. So it could have worked.
Well,
Interesting.
but we even said like it's probably going to kill the hearth. Could Ambrose live with that? That
he
was what
couldn't.
we talked about. Yeah, I think that was almost the reason we decided not to do it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
Wild.
interesting. Yeah, because I think Tay's right. I don't think there was any scenario where any of us would have been like, okay, we do need to give it to him. I mean, from a meta
Yeah,
perspective,
definitely.
we might know, then we have to try and get it back. But as a character,
Yeah.
you're not going to be like,
Yeah, no, God, no, yeah.
I'm not going to sacrifice this pawn to try and move my knight in the next phase. I love my pawns.
Yeah, it was.
I'm terrible at chess.
I
Just
talked
boring
about
game.
I talked about with the party, like if we pretty much I said in our conspiracy chat, are we willing to all die or do you want an out? Because I have an out. Because Ambrose had the book.
Yeah, well,
And-
we talked about it.
We did in detail. And we were like, are we team continue the campaign? Or are we team fuck around and find out? And everybody
FAFO.
was on team fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Faithful.
I think we needed to live with our choices anyway, and what we
Yeah.
decided to instigate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. I don't know how I would have felt about like if there was a Deus Ex Machina like right at the last minute. I think
Yeah,
I
it
think
did
Well, there
feel
kind
right.
of was, wasn't there? Because we're all in the gallery.
Brief way. Yeah.
well we're on the gallery,
That
but
was-
we're in
that's
a
a bit
different.
different.
Yeah, we're in a different place. Like when we were talking
Different
about
timeline.
it, it reminded me of like the ending to Lost, where everyone's coming together and they don't remember, and then they start to remember when they're together, and they're all sat in the church, waiting to move on. I was like, no, we already did move on. Holy shit, we fucking failed. Everyone died, and then we have to live with it.
Yeah, getting those memories back wasn't as wholesome as I expected.
No,
Like Ambrose is upset.
as he should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's again, Serenia wanted him alone.
Yeah, was Serenya's plan to kill him?
100%.
Would
She would
that
at
have
least
even
tried.
judgment you guys wanted to pass on him. If you thought his punishment should be holding the book, he held the book. If you wanted to kill him, he'd let you. He
Okay,
was-
so Serenia, if you kill him, where does the book go?
She would have kept it.
Okay. To what end?
She,
Just
until
become the
she found
keeper?
some.
just put it on
Yeah.
a bookshelf somewhere.
Honestly, that's probably closer. She'd forget she has it. Just like, look at this cute little book I got.
Just casually loses the book of time. Yeah, it's fine.
And this-
I'm sure that's not important.
Adorable.
And this is where my collection of my Game of Thrones books are, and this is where I have Julia Child's Joy of Cooking, and then the book I found it. Fine.
Oh
Just
god.
amongst the coffee table book. Yeah, she definitely would have killed them.
Mm.
The minute she gets him alone.
Yeah.
She knows.
Basically, the curator got what he wanted, which was to be able to actually live out his life. Like he's immortal. Like he was going to outlive her anyway, but he wanted to at least enjoy that time.
Did
so-
Mariana know what he did to make that happen?
No.
So he didn't tell Mariana, but he told all of us?
Yes,
This
because you guys
bitch.
already knew.
This
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah,
you need,
he
you
wa-
need to tell someone a secret like that, don't you? You don't want
Yeah.
to tell your wife.
Like that's why he was so fucked. Like at the end of it, he was just like, I'm sick of this. Just he was hoping
Sick
that
of
you
my
guys.
wife.
He was hoping that you guys were going to kill him.
Lucian on a regular basis. Sick of my wife.
Yeah, no. Snados was confused, but after getting all his memories, she's like, "You deserve to continue living like this."
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think Mary was
That's
in
a
the
worse
same.
punishment than death.
He was in the same place, and after seeing what he became in the other, he didn't want to go anywhere near it. So he didn't want to kill anyone. And
Yeah,
then-
The
Ambrose
only
didn't want to be a
other-
keeper. That's the keeper of an oracle? No.
The only other thing that went through my head in that time was leave the curator in the room where we got the book, but pry his eyes out first so he couldn't see the beauty around him and let him suffer in silence.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
There was
That's
no.
I think that Ambrose would have been on board with that, but he wouldn't have stopped you either.
So I had to go along and sneak away. Well, guys, any final questions as we wrap up
Now's your
what
chance,
has been
chat.
the Book of Time?
Get
Yeah,
in on it.
chat. This is
Go
your
chat.
time. If you haven't watched any of the Book of Time, ! YouTube in chat. Go check out our YouTube channel, Cast Exposition on all socials. We will update you there. Maybe we will be better at social media this time around.
No, we won't.
We won't.
We won't. Don't promise things.
We're all
Uh,
very busy.
Discord. Join our Discord. That's where you'll be up to date on literally everything. The Discord knows it, hears it first.
Discord knows best.
Discord knows best, except for when it updates randomly in the middle of a session. Then
It's like-
Discord is a cuck.
It's like Carly's offering to be our social media manager. Hell yeah.
Hey, ma'am, if you want that volunteer
if you
position,
want
you
it.
can have it. It's yours. We'll talk.
Please.
We'll pay
Our
you in
enterprise
brand
will
new
expand.
Skittles. Oh wait, we're not doing that anymore. Are we?
Throw back to when we tried so hard for that Skittles sponsorship.
They never responded to me.
Bastards.
All because I was eating Skittles on the stream.
You and Cryo one day both had Skittles. That's why
Yeah.
this got started.
Oh, and then I
And
went
then-
and bought Skittles after it. Yeah.
I also
And
went
then
and
we
got
all
Skittles.
found out. We all found out as well that they've got like they're toxic enough to change someone's DNA or something like that.
Yeah. We'll try it for a different. If you are a small company that would love to partner with an up and coming tabletop RPG stream, castexposition@gmail.com.
We're not afraid
Let
to
us know.
kill people. This gets people in the door. We're exciting.
Yeah,
You
that's
never
really
know when
Yeah.
somebody's gonna
You
die.
You never know when things are gonna
You
happen.
never
See-
know
right?
when it's gonna go down.
But Skittles have a tiny chance to change your DNA to make you 5% sexier. This is not scientifically proven. Skittles does not approve this message.
Skittles
We'll-
does not
we'll
approve
save
this
that-
message.
We'll save that for our audition reel. Just timestamp it for me, and I'll put
Yeah.
it on the audition reel.
Exclamation marker.
What
There we
a
go.
time. What a
All
time.
right. Guys, Wombat, thank you again for
You're
running
the best, Wombat. Thank
the
you for killing
past.
us. This has been great.
things I never
Um,
thought I'd say. Thank you for killing us.
I want to do a little, as long as there's no other questions, I want to do a little bit of a teaser for the next campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. Let's talk
Tease,
about it.
tease me, you fucking whore.
Tease.
Put yourselves on mute. Shut up.
So, our next campaign is completely unrelated to Providence, to the oracles, to the gods, to everything. That world is just
Phew.
over there somewhere in a different multiverse. This new world is very small. This new world is a dying world. This new world was born via a star that fell from the world, fell from the heavens down to the earth, and someone found the star and learned that it has the capability to grant wishes. And so they wished that the world comes alive, that it had people, places for those people to live, resources to sustain the people. Naturally, with such an artifact of so much power, the capability to do literally anything, people want it. It's a very valuable commodity. People are greedy. People want it. So war broke out. Everyone wanting the star for their own goals. Some wanted it to become more dominant, more powerful. Others wanted it to study it and learn from it. Others wanted it to protect it. And those wanted it to just leave, go back up to where it belongs. The first being the person that found the star originally, was shielded and brought under the wing of people who swore to protect the star, protect the first, until they can find its place back in the sky. No one has seen the first in a very long time. No one has seen the star in a very long time. But the place that the star once was remains empty. And the world has begun to slowly die. What was once verdant green jungles and forests, plains, are now desert and barren wasteland. A large crack in the earth has split one continent into two. And the world's technology begins to advance and progress. 200 odd years later is when the campaign begins. Technology is at a point of some areas have, most areas have access to sort of black powder weaponry. One region in particular, one faction in particular, has spearheaded the technological advances and have built airships and a rudimentary train line. But both of which are sort of sheltered off to their military. There's other places that flat out refuse the new technology, such as the old world where the star first fell. And there's places which can see the benefits of it, but don't like the places that they've come from. So they're more slowly adapting to the technology, figuring it out themselves. Our story begins in the old world. And party members all know. Well, they've all heard of the star. They know its power. And they've heard tales of the wars that surrounded it. The wars still ongoing for it. And they're reminded of it every time they look up in the night sky and see the missing place in the sky where the star once was. But we'll have to wait for more in session 1.
All right, guys, as we get ready to sign off and wrap up this chapter of Casted Exposition's history, A Book of Time, we ask that you use the Book of Time emoji in chat for one of the last times. Spam it away, use it up, give it some love. Join us next week for A World's Rebirth. And keep your eyes open as we announce session 0 for this new campaign coming up on the 28th of May. And for now, everybody, we're signing off. We will cast you later. Good night. Good morning. Good day.
Huh. Conk.